That was merely a zombie controlled by the Immortal. If the Immortal himself had taken action, the two-headed python would have perished, Tang Jinchuan remarked. Those like Wang Gangjian, who had harbored doubts about the Immortal's power, now nodded in agreement. Roar. The two-headed python's one head was obliterated, it let out a pained wail from its remaining head. As it regained its composure, the remaining pair of snake eyes glared at Chu Xian, filled with brutality and murderous intent. Just as it was about to open its mouth for another attack, a swift and compact figure suddenly appeared. This figure forcefully drove a nail wrapped in a terrifying aura, deep into the massive body of the two-headed python. The Yin fire spike. Boom. A blast of Yin fire exploded, severing the python at the waist. Chunks of its flesh were flung in all directions, shocking everyone present with this unexpected turn of events. Where did that figure come from? Just now the Immortal mentioned Hu and Bao. It appears that two zombies were deployed simultaneously, someone observed. No wonder. The first one appeared muscular and robust, clearly a warrior type, while the second was agile and compact, evidently an assassin. This is the power of an Immortal. The crowd buzzed with comments, filled with shock. The python, which they had all struggled with, was now nearly destroyed by just two of the Immortal's undead minions. The disparity was immense. Swoosh, swoosh. Hu and Bao swiftly reappeared by Chu Xian's side. Hu looked triumphant, proud to have completed another task for his master, while Bao was contentedly chewing on a piece of snake meat. Chu Xian looked down at the two-headed python. Now missing one head and half its body, it was profusely bleeding from its wounds yet still alive. Its vitality was greater than Chu Xian had anticipated. Although the psionic energy was a little weaker than spiritual qi, its vitality enhancement was almost comparable. Hiss, hiss. In the two remaining eyes of the python, there was deep resentment toward Chu Xian. It knew it had no chance of survival, it was merely in its death throes. Enraged, it decided to take this unexpected human adversary down with it. In the next moment, the python opened its mouth wide and expelled a vast amount of evil qi, intent on releasing all qi within its body to kill this uninvited guest. Chu Xian saw the vast cloud of evil qi and smiled peculiarly. Are you offering this to me? For Chu Xian, who practiced the blood evil demon refining scripture, evil qi was akin to a tonic. Previously, he had sat in meditation within the evil soul-snatching array to practice and had swiftly advanced to the second level of foundation establishment. If you discover this narrative on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen. Please report the violation. The evil qi exhaled by the two-headed python, although not particularly impressive, was still absorbable and useful for cultivation. Chu Xian began to run the blood evil demon refining scripture, letting the evil qi envelop him. The python's eyes filled with satisfaction and amusement. How absurd. It found it utterly ridiculous that this human didn't understand the terror of the evil qi and allowed it to envelop him. Onlookers watched anxiously. What's happening? Why is the Immortal covered in that evil mist? One asked. Just now, the Immortal didn't move at all, as if he wasn't afraid, another observed. Hey, maybe that guy is just frozen with fear? There's no such thing as immortals, just a more powerful human, a skeptical voice chimed in. People murmured amongst themselves, each with their own theories. Song Dei whispered worriedly, can the Immortal really handle it? That level of evil energy. Wang Gangjian, lacking confidence, hesitated. That whole area is filled with evil energy, yet the Immortal stood by its side. He must have something up his sleeve. He had never seen Chu Xian enter the evil soul-snatching array himself, he only knew that Chu Xian had once stood outside the array, warning him not to come close. Thus, he could only speculate based on past experiences. Tang Jinchuan's gaze was resolute. I believe in him. He must have a way. Xianxia and Li Taimu, initially hopeful, felt a chill run through them as they saw Chu Xian instantly engulfed by the evil qi. Damn. Why didn't he dodge? He seemed so capable. Li Taimu almost wanted to rush in and drag Chu Xian out, yelling at him to evade. Xianxia sighed, don't panic, let's wait and see. Maybe he has a trick up his sleeve. Buzz. The next moment, the evil chi enveloping Chu Xian suddenly converged and vanished without a trace. Chu Xian opened his eyes, seemingly unsatisfied, and looked towards the python with a smile. Any more? The python, which had just felt a sense of release, suddenly looked astonished. What just happened? Its usually infallible evil chi was gone? It appeared as if this detestable human had absorbed it. Wang Gangjian and the others wore similar expressions of disbelief. Facing such evil energy, even superhumans would perish upon contact, yet this supposed immortal seemed almost disappointed it was over. What was going on? Tang Jinchuan wore a knowing smile. I knew it. Li Taimu, who a second before had been furiously questioning why Chu Xian hadn't dodged, now stood frozen, his angry expression solidifying on his face. I. Xianxia laughed heartily. See. I told you he had a trick up his sleeve. He really isn't afraid of the evil energy. You are quite remarkable, worthy of being the main soul of my formation. Chu Xian calmly nodded, acknowledging the python's strength. The python roared in anger. Though it didn't understand what a main soul for a formation meant, it knew it was being underestimated. Throughout their encounter, Chu Xian had never regarded it as an equal opponent. Despairingly, the python let out a mournful howl and, dragging its half-severed body, launched one final attack on Chu Xian. Its gaping maw seemed intent on swallowing Chu Xian and the surrounding space itself. Your journey ends here, said Chu Xian, unmoving, simply waving his hand casually. A crimson chain suddenly whipped out, and with a snap, the python's head was severed cleanly. The giant snake's eyes still held anger and resentment, unaware it had already perished. With a simple gesture, Chu Xian performed a spell and yanked forth. The white soul of the python was forcibly extracted. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Is that a soul? People watched in utter shock. Soul extraction. This was truly something only an immortal could accomplish. Wang Gangjian and his group looked upon Chu Xian with a mix of reverence and fear. Xianxia, Li Taimu, and the soldiers of the Linjiang army also shed their pride completely, filled only with deep awe for Chu Xian. Flight. Soul snatching. What else could these be if not the methods of the immortals? In Xianxia's heart, regret now swelled boundlessly. If only he had sought out this mysterious immortal 3 times, inviting him to join their fight against the python at the Hanhai Hotel, the outcome might not have been so tragic. Key members like Lin Xiao of the Linjiang army might not have died. All this was due to his arrogance and his pride, leading to the worst possible outcome. He was filled with deep remorse. It's not your fault, Brother Xiong. Nobody expected he was an immortal, Li Taimu said, trying to console Xianxia. Before coming here, I even told Xiaoer that there are no such things as immortals. If there were, they would have saved this planet before the apocalypse even began, he added. Xianxia sighed deeply, nodding slightly. After extracting the soul of the 2-headed python, Chu Xian also took its body away. Having completed these actions, he stepped onto his heavenly star flying sword and vanished without a trace, leaving behind a crowd filled with gratitude. Chu Xian's intervention wasn't to save anyone, it was merely to slay the python to obtain a main soul for his formation. The people's grateful tears meant little to him. Li Taimu spoke quietly, Brother Xiong, the 3rd-level psionic crystal is gone. How are we going to explain this when we get back? Xianxia replied gravely, it's gone, and that's that. As long as it didn't end up with the ship gang, it's fine. After a pause, he added, send word of today's events back to headquarters. Okay, Li Taimu nodded. Hanhai Hotel, rooftop. The wind howled as Chu Xian landed smoothly. He released Long, Hu, and Bao from the tower and casually tossed out the massive body of the 2-headed python. Long, curious, crouched down to examine the python's body. Hu, as always, stayed close to Chu Xian, not moving away. Bao, in a blink of an eye, had a piece of the snake's tail in his mouth, crunching away happily. who glanced at him and gave him a shove. Ho ho ho. Roar. Who seemed to scold Bao for disturbing their master. Bao whimpered pitifully and was forced to spit out the snake's tail. Chu Xian watched their antics with amusement. You two did well this time, here's the reward. With a flick of his fingers, he sent 2 dusky earth evil pills flying towards them. Hu and Bao's eyes lit up as they caught and immediately swallowed them. They didn't know what these were, but instinctively craved them. So without a second thought, they ate them. Hu and Bao had already reached the 8th level of corpse soldiers. One more step, and they could attempt to become corpse generals. Feeding them earth evil pills now could speed up this process. Chu Xian still had plenty of earth evil pills left, enough to advance all 3 of his corpse puppets to the rank of corpse generals. Long also caught the scent of the earth evil pills and his eyes turned green with envy. As for the body of the python, just let ordinary corpse puppet eat it, Chu Xian thought, waving his hand and releasing a dozen more corpse puppets from the tower. These corpse puppets might not be as formidable as Long, Hu, or Bao, but they were still significantly stronger than ordinary zombies. A little cultivation would do them good. Perhaps they would be needed as cannon fodder in the future. Ensure your favorite authors get the support they deserve. Read this novel on Royal Road. At their master's command, the corpse puppets surged forward. Dinner time. Go fetch me some formidable zombies, Chu Xian commanded. Roar. Long, Hu, and Bao eagerly dashed out, showing impressive zeal in their task. In no time, they returned with 20 robust zombies, throwing them down before Chu Xian. Chu Xian glanced over them and recognized that these were no ordinary zombies, each one was at least a first-level zombie, already evolving psionic crystals within. Well done, here's your reward, Chu Xian said as he flicked an earth evil pill towards Long, who caught it with his mouth and scurried away to digest it. Bao, with a cunning gleam in his eyes, approached the zombies and started gouging bloody holes in their bodies. He then lay down before Chu Xian, seemingly bragging about his efficiency. Chu Xian looked at the mutilated zombies with a facepalm. Using living beings as cauldrons requires precision in making blood holes at the convergence of blood vessels, not just random gashing. Take him out and discipline him, Chu Xian ordered calmly. Roar. Hu nodded vigorously, cracking his wrists before grabbing Bao by the leg and tossing him off the rooftop. A series of crashing sounds soon followed from below. These zombies are now useless, Chu Xian stated as he applied his blood extraction technique, drawing all their blood into a large orb. He then methodically created precise blood holes in the remaining first-level zombies, implanting various seeds. As Chu Xian's cultivation advanced, the need to enhance his corpse puppets and goo insects grew. More zombies would be needed as cauldrons in the future. I need to create a zombie farm, treating the zombies like soil, so I don't have to keep hunting for them each time, Chu Xian mused aloud, smacking his lips. I wish there were a zombie spawner cage. Imagine having a spawning ground right here. Alas, this was reality, not a game. Go play, he waved Long and the others off to amuse themselves. Chu Xian then mounted his flying sword and entered the evil soul-snatching array. The evil chi rampaged unchecked within the array, a vision of hellish evil in the eyes of righteous cultivators, a place that ought not to exist and should be destroyed. However, to demonic cultivators like Chu Xian, it was a vibrant scene of thriving life and flourishing potential. Chu Xian took a deep breath, feeling refreshed and nearly ethereal. With a gesture, the evil soul chain appeared in his hand, and Huikong's evil soul emerged, feeling as though it had arrived in paradise. Surrounded by dense evil chi, it excitedly absorbed within sight. Chu Xian casually released the python's soul as well. As he had anticipated, there was indeed something peculiar about the soul of the python. Ordinary souls could not withstand the scouring of the evil chi. They would dim and dissipate after a few exposures. However, the soul of the python had endured 7 or 8 washes of the evil chi. It had merely faded slightly. Upon closer inspection, his soul had even assimilated some of the evil chi. No wonder this creature could store evil energy within itself. It seems I have stumbled upon a treasure. Chu Xian's face broke into a smile. All he needed to do was to leave the python's soul here, to be refined over the years, and it would eventually transform into a powerful malevolent soul. In time, it would more than suffice as the main soul for his array. Now, it is my turn to begin cultivation. Chu Xian seated himself at the center of the array, resting in meditation, breathing deeply as he practiced his skills. In cultivation, time does not exist. Chu Xian sat in silent contemplation. Whatever happened in the outside world was of no concern to him. General Yi Nantian set down the satellite phone, his mind reeling from the report he had just received from Xianxia. The details lingered in his thoughts. General, Lin Xiao has fallen, devoured by the two-headed python. General, we were no match for the python, but that mysterious immortal appeared and killed it single-handedly. He even extracted its soul. The immortal took the python's body, and we couldn't retrieve the psionic crystal. Staring towards the south, Yi Nantian felt a profound disturbance that he couldn't settle. The two-headed python. I might have been able to defeat it after my promotion to a 4th-level superhuman, but killing it so effortlessly and cleanly would have been impossible. That cultivator must possess the strength of at least a 5th-level superhuman. Such formidable power could influence the balance of power in the region with a mere gesture. We must bring him into the Linjiang army's fold. At the very least, I cannot allow the ship gang to recruit him. Search *the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In Hanhai Province, a vast inland lake known as Hanhai Lake sprawls extensively, ranking as one of the largest inland lakes of the Han country. To its east lies the vast East Sea. The province boasts highly developed water transportation, with a long history of large fleets ranging from small boats to massive Coast Guard ships. After the zombie outbreak, those who made their living from fishing and living on boats mostly survived. These survivors gradually gathered under various superhumans, eventually forming several factions. The leaders of these factions came together to establish the ship gang, an alliance without a traditional leader. Instead, it is governed by a council of superhumans known as the Supernatural Council. The ship gang's influence stretches across the entire Hanhai province. Many members find it difficult to reach the Supernatural Council meetings held in Yuhai City due to the vastness of the province and the dispersed nature of their locations. Superhumans also maintain their individual territories, and some have rivalries or old grudges, making full attendance at council meetings rare. Often, small matters are resolved by 2 or 3 superhumans without convening a full meeting. The Supernatural Council is based in a large shipyard in Yuhai City, once the premier shipbuilding facility of the area that built 6 ironclad ships and received personal praise from the Emperor of Han country. However, post-outbreak, the shipyard has been taken over by the ship gang and converted into their headquarters. At this moment, in the highest conference room of the shipyard, 2 superhumans are sorting through documents sent from various parts of the province. These documents invariably report on high-level zombies and supernatural creatures in Hanhai province. The evolution rate of zombies and supernatural creatures rivals that of humans, with powerful zombies capable of rallying large numbers of their kind to dominate territories and occasionally raid human settlements. As the strongest force in Hanhai province, the ship gang sees it as their duty to aid the weaker settlements and eliminate these high-level threats, thus securing their control. One of the superhumans is unusually short and appears youthful, almost like a small boy, but his face bears the marks of age not fitting a child. The other is a tall, curvaceous woman. She holds a wine bottle in her left hand and a document in her right, clearly bored with the routine. Taking a swig of her drink, she casually mentions, in Golden Mountain City, a high-level zombie has appeared with the ability to launch ice spikes. It has already destroyed 3 small settlements. It's suspected to be a 2nd-level zombie, commanding over 1,000 regular zombies and about 20 first-level zombies. As the woman's voice trailed off, the young boy immediately responded, Dingpeng is closest to that location. Send a message to him to lead a team to clear out the zombie horde. The woman continued to list several affected areas within Hanhai province. The boy was able to rapidly provide decisions for each situation in less than a second. It was as if he had an entire map of Hanhai province in his mind, with all the superhumans and settlements under the ship gang's rule appearing like stars in the sky, some bright, some dim. Love this novel? Read it on Royal Road to ensure the author gets credit. Search *the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A particular document caught the woman's interest. Without even looking at it, the boy remarked, "Sister, that's the first time today you've shown interest." The woman chuckled behind her hand. "There's news from within Linjiang province. The two-headed python that broke through Yinantian's encirclement has appeared in East Lake City. Yinantian sent Xianxia, Lin Xiao, and Li Taimu, 3 commanders, to East Lake City to besiege and kill the injured two-headed python," she said with a smile. "Liang, it's the same two-headed python we once encountered." The boy nodded. "That python is cunning and has powerful psionic abilities. It's not easily killed. Xianxia, Lin Xiao, and Li Taimu are all experienced second-level superhumans. I've calculated that with a maximum casualty limit of 2 dead and more than 10 first-level superhumans, there's only a 72% chance of stopping the python." The woman laughed, covering her mouth. "Xiao Liang, your calculations are off this time." The boy frowned. "Impossible, all variables were constant, the result should be definitive." The woman pushed the document towards him with a light laugh. "Take a look, there's been an unexpected factor." The boy read the document in a flash, showing surprise for the first time. Sword flying? Soul extraction? Immortal techniques? He was incredulous. He thought he had a comprehensive understanding of psionic powers, but this was beyond his expectations and had effortlessly changed the outcome. The boy stated seriously, "He didn't even act, and the 2 zombies he controlled easily inflicted heavy damage on the python. This so-called immortal has a 52% chance of being a 4th-level superhuman and a 22% chance of being a 5th-level, he continued. Given his ability to control zombies, there's a 55% probability his awakened talent is related to the brain." The woman's eyes sparkled. "A 5th-level superhuman? Brain enhancement? That high of a rating?" The boy nodded seriously. The woman laughed softly. "Shall we go meet him then? We might find the memories we lost." The boy seriously added, "From his actions, he does not seem like someone easy to befriend." "Are you sure you want to go?" She nodded. "Yes, even if he isn't easy to get along with, if we bring gifts, he surely won't refuse, right?" The boy stood up. "All right, then let's go." "Do we need to inform the ship's captain?" the woman joked. The boy shook his head. "No need. When we stayed with the ship gang, we agreed to help for a year, and after that, we could leave whenever we wanted." The woman whispered, "All right, let's go. Oh, before we leave, I'll grab a few more bottles of wine. The ship gang's brew is too delicious." The boy, "I guessed as much." He pointed to the ground beneath their feet. "The wine storage is on the 2nd sublevel, east side. There are 2 guards, but this is their nap time." The woman chuckled lightly, playfully flicking his nose. "Rescuing you from that hospital was indeed the right decision." The boy instinctively stepped back. The woman's laughter lightened as she grabbed the boy's hand and strode confidently out of the shipyard. They seemed to be enveloped in a veil of invisibility, undetected by the busy crowd around them as they made their escape. It was over an hour later when someone bringing new dispatch documents knocked and entered the room, only to find that the pair had long since departed. Soon after, the news of their departure reached the ship gang's leader. Known as the Old Captain to most, his real name had long been forgotten. Commonly referred to as the head of the East Sea fishermen, he was nearing 70 yet still ventured out to fish every so often. Before the zombie outbreak, he was already highly respected. When the outbreak hit, he happened to be at sea, avoiding the most dangerous early days. His awakening talents naturally positioned him as the leader of the fishermen, and he was eventually elected as the head of the Supernatural Council. The old captain, with his temples graying and face marked by age, still maintained a vigorous and robust demeanor. Each deep wrinkle on his face seemed to carry the briny scent of the sea breeze, a testament to his years weathering the ocean's moods. Chapter 64, 4th level foundation establishment. Descendants of the Zombie Empress. Plus, turn off reset. Old Captain tapped lightly on the table, reflecting on the departure of Ji Xingyu and He Xingliang, who had spent over a year with the ship gang without any indication of permanence. Now they've suddenly left, he mused. And they even took half a crate of wine with them. Recalling past conversations, he remembered, when they first joined the ship gang, they mentioned they were looking for their lost memories, hoping to get help from a superhuman with enhanced cognitive abilities. It seems they believe that the so-called Immortal in Linjiang province is their target? Old Captain sighed deeply. He had rescued the pair when they were barely alive after an attack by the Zombie King. The young boy's awakened talent had greatly enhanced his brain, enabling him to process information at an incredible pace. With most of the ship gang being muscular and primarily focused on combat, He Xingliang's intellectual abilities had been a valuable asset. Initially, Old Captain had set almost no conditions for their stay, merely hoping they would choose to remain. The duo had then agreed to stay for a year as a way to repay his kindness, with the option to leave or stay afterward. He hadn't really expected them to leave. Shaking his head in resignation, Old Captain knew he couldn't have kept them if they were determined to leave. Let them go, he resolved. As for the cultivator appearing in East Lake City, Old Captain pondered, should the ship gang seek an alliance with him? Or should I just mention it at the council to ensure they don't provoke this cultivator? He sighed lightly, knowing that while the ship gang appeared strong, it was actually quite fragmented. His role as leader gave his words weight, but whether they were heeded was another matter. His thoughts then turned to a more pressing issue, the increasingly terrifying zombie empress in the north of Hanhai province. Can't let her continue to produce offspring and expand her reign unchecked. 2 years swiftly passed. During this time, Chu Xian remained seated motionless within the evil soul-snatching array. The soul of the two-headed python had repeatedly shown hostility towards him, only to be fiercely beaten each time by Huikong. Chu Xian had instructed Huikong's soul before entering his meditative state, if the python's soul attempted any attack on him, Chu Xian would punish Huikong, regardless of whether Huikong saw the attack coming or not. To avoid punishment, Huikong didn't even allow the two-headed python's soul to come close to Chu Xian. Any attempts to approach were met with immediate and severe retaliation. After several beatings, the python's soul became much more subdued, daring only to absorb the surrounding evil chi quietly and keep its distance. At this moment, the energy within Chu Xian surged stronger than ever, hinting that he was on the verge of breaking through another boundary in his cultivation. A year ago, under the potent influence of the surging evil chi, Chu Xian had naturally progressed to the 3rd level of foundation establishment. Now, he was on the cusp of breaking through to the 4th level. Advancing to this stage would place him among the mid-stage foundation establishment cultivators. Unauthorized reproduction, this story has been taken without approval. Report sightings. With his array of skills and secrets, Chu Xian was confident in facing opponents even at the 5th or 6th levels of foundation establishment without fear. If he chose to use the merit bell, disregarding the risk of exposing his trump card, he could stand against a 7th level foundation establishment cultivator with ease. The spiritual chi inside Chu Xian roared like a wild dragon, repeatedly slamming against the invisible bottleneck. Again and again, he challenged the barrier until, finally, it shattered. In that instant, it was as if a dragon had soared from the depths, and his vast aura surged outward in all directions. The ghosts and demons spawned within the evil soul-snatching array were obliterated by his explosive energy. Their remnants returned to the array, serving as nourishment for new spectral entities. At this moment, Chu Xian's eyes snapped open, a flash of sharp light flickering within. The 4th level of the foundation establishment. A satisfied smile spread across his face. See the Nellfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian sat in the array, constantly immersed in a dense concentration of pure evil chi. His cultivation progressed as swiftly as if he were consuming elixirs daily. Chu Xian made a casual gesture, and Huikong returned to the evil soul chain. He then stepped and exited the range of the array in the blink of an eye. He soared through the sky on his flying sword, seeking a location teeming with zombies to test his newly acquired spells. Meanwhile, in Two Dragons City, the woman and the young boy stood on the rooftop of a tall building, gazing at another peculiar building next door, which bizarrely featured veins and arteries like some sort of flesh construct. Xingyu expressed some emotion. It took us 2 full years to get here, encountering numerous unexpected challenges along the way, even being chased by 5th-level zombies and supernatural beings. But at last, we've reached Xuanglong City. Just a bit further, and we'll be in East Lake City, where that cultivator resides. We need to hurry and bring a gift for our meeting with him. Their journey had been arduous, marked by both danger and the bizarre, but their goal was now within reach. With a sense of urgency and a plan to make a favorable impression, they prepared to navigate the final leg of their quest to meet the mysterious cultivator. Xingliang's calm assessment laid out the formidable challenge ahead. Inside, there's a 4th-level zombie, 9 3rd-level zombies, and a multitude of lower-level zombies. The 4th-level zombie is a descendant of the zombie Empress from the north of Hanhai province. Its abilities are quite unique. According to my calculations, you have a 72% probability of killing it, a 25% chance of a draw, and a 3% chance of dying at its hands. Are you sure you want to use it as a gift? Xingyu chuckled behind her hand. Of course, only a 4th-level psionic crystal is worthy of being presented as a gift. Lower-level crystals won't catch his eye. Xingliang nodded. Then you go ahead. I'll handle the lower-level zombies around here. The reproductive ability of that 4th-level zombie is strong. I estimate it only needs 1 day to spawn 100 zombies, including quite a few 1st-level ones. Xingyu nodded with a smile and was about to move forward when he suddenly felt something and looked up sharply. Both of them immediately saw a figure flying through the air, seemingly divine. Their expressions changed slightly, and they quickly hid in the shadows of a nearby building. Xingliang whispered, "Is that the Immortal?" Xingyu nodded. "What is he doing here?" At that moment, Chu Xian hovered in front of a high-rise building. He had intended to continue onward but was stopped by the building's bizarre exterior. The building was unique, its surface covered in veins and muscle fibers, starkly different from the surrounding skyscrapers. Chu Xian briefly scanned and detected abundant life within. It was swarming with zombies. These zombies were peculiar in appearance, smaller than the typical ones Chu Xian had encountered, the tallest only half a person's height. They were more agile and nimble, with limbs equipped with suction pads allowing them to move quickly across walls and even ceilings. What surprised Chu Xian even more was that these zombies lacked mouths. They could not eat. They functioned like industrious ants, transporting various organic materials into the high-rise, then heading out again, tirelessly returning. Chu Xian's spirit extended outwards, swiftly enveloping the entire skyscraper. In a matter of a minute or two, he discerned the peculiar nature of these zombies. These lesser zombies were all spawned by a single zombie matriarch, akin to a queen bee or ant. They simply required continuous nourishment from the lesser zombies to endlessly produce zombie eggs. After a period of incubation, these eggs would hatch into more of the lesser zombies. These zombies clearly defied conventional reasoning. After all, if one were to insist on scientific explanations, zombies would be viviparous rather than oviparous. How intriguing. I wonder if such lesser zombies could serve as the soil for a zombie farm? Chu Xian's interest grew as he watched. Stumbling upon this place by chance, he had not anticipated such an opportunity. As for the 2 survivors hidden within the skyscraper behind him, he had detected them almost immediately upon arrival. However, since they chose to remain hidden out of fear, he saw no reason to waste time exposing their refuge. Long, Hu, Bao, root out the zombie matriarch for me. The 3 giant corpse puppets soared out and descended at the skyscraper's entrance. They roared excitedly, storming into the group of zombies transporting food like tigers among sheep. Xingliang and Xingyu observed everything intently, their expressions solemn. The bald zombie at the forefront, the burly one following closely, and the skinny one that appears intermittently might all be level 4 zombies, Xingyu noted. This cultivator is very powerful. Xingliang remarked earnestly. Ji Xingyu teased, "You're not even talking probabilities anymore, you're nervous." He Xingliang fell silent. Ji Xingyu asked, "The zombie matriarch hasn't shown up yet. If it recklessly continues to hatch zombie eggs, do you think these 3 zombies can hold off?" Combining the data in his mind, He Xingliang pondered rapidly. Wisps of steam even began to rise from his head, indicating the intense activity of his brain. After a moment, he earnestly said, "There's a 35% chance these 3 zombies could kill the matriarch, though there's a possibility of losses." As soon as the words left his mouth, Long and Hu like wild beasts charged into the skyscraper. Along the way, they left a trail of severed limbs and crushed bodies of lesser zombies. Bao, akin to an assassin, would each time appear and claim the life of a lesser zombie. Together, the 3 of them were unstoppable. Deep underground, a sudden and furious growl echoed. Clearly, the zombie matriarch, ceaselessly producing zombie eggs, had become aware that her progeny were being slaughtered en masse. Bang! 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 Soft, yet sharp bursting sounds came from all directions. Chu Xian's eyebrows raised. He sensed that a multitude of new lives were emerging from the depths, rushing towards the surface. As expected, it seemed the zombie eggs were being hatched prematurely under the matriarch's urging. Support creative writers by reading their stories on Royal Road, not stolen versions. Bang! 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 Intense explosions suddenly erupted. Chu Xian fixed his gaze and saw, to his astonishment, several lesser zombies clutching onto Bao and detonating themselves. Organs, flesh, and bones scattered everywhere. These lesser zombies' bodies had undergone some transformation, now filled with unstable energy that could explode with the slightest provocation. Bang! 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 In the blink of an eye, lesser zombies emerged from the deep, clutching the 3 corpses known as Long and detonating immediately, completely disregarding their own safety. Even Long was left dazed by the continuous blasts. Particularly Bao, who was high in offense but low in defense, adept at slaying powerful foes but vulnerable to strong attacks. Chu Xian, sharing a mental bond with Bao, instantly perceived that Bao had sustained injuries. Search *the novelfire.net * website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Continuous howls of agony ensued. Hu, overhearing this, grew increasingly irritated and approached with a forceful shove. "Truly a disgrace to us." Chu Xian, however, found his interest piqued. Bao, now an 8th-level corpse soldier, was still susceptible to harm from the self-destructive lesser zombies. This indicated that the zombies and supernatural creatures of this planet indeed possessed their unique traits. At that moment, another high-pitched scream growing louder approached, and emanated from below. The zombie matriarch had awakened more zombie eggs, and more self-detonating lesser zombies were surging toward the surface. From the sounds of it, even the zombie matriarch was moving towards the surface, evidently dissatisfied with the slow progress of the assault and intending to swiftly end the battle. He Xingliang stated earnestly, "The zombie matriarch is coming. If these 3 zombies don't retreat, the one skilled in assassination has a 70% chance of being severely injured." Ji Xingyu arched an eyebrow. "Do you think the Cultivator will join the fight?" He Xingliang nodded, "He definitely will. I have limited knowledge of him, but I estimate that killing the matriarch will cost him a great deal of effort." Ji Xingyu chuckled, "Then if we intervene, we might earn his favor." He Xingliang nodded in agreement. They guessed correctly. Chu Xian indeed planned to take action. "It's been a while since I've taken action personally. This will be a good test of my new spells," he said with a slight smile. After advancing to the 4th level of the Blood Evil Demon Refining Scripture, Chu Xian mastered 2 new spells. The first, acquired at the 3rd level, was the Blood Evil Shadow. The second, learned at the 4th level, was the Corpse Refining Blood Fire. Blood Evil Shadow, a mid-tier spell of the Foundation Establishment stage, utilizes a combination of blood essence and evil chi to condense 3 pitch-black shadows. These shadows can usually hide within one's own shadow, undetectable. When attacked, they automatically appear to block the assault, requiring no conscious activation, a vital means of self-protection that Chu Xian had long desired to master. However, these zombies did not warrant the use of Blood Evil Shadow. Chu Xian intended to use Corpse Refining Blood Fire, another mid-tier spell of the Foundation establishment stage. This spell necessitates the melting down of the corpses of living beings to manifest. If integrated into an offensive spell, the power of that spell greatly increases. When added to a defensive spell, it endows the spell with a counteractive burning capability, deterring opponents from attacking. To Chu Xian, this spell was exceptionally effective. The cost-effectiveness of these two spells even surpassed those learned from advancing to the 5th and 6th levels of the Blood Evil Demon Refining Scripture. This was precisely why Chu Xian, having just broken through, planned to find a place to refine his spells. With a casual toss, he enveloped the surrounding area of the skyscraper with 36 array flags. This formation was known as the Ceiling Array, a low transformation formation of the Foundation establishment stage. While it sounded formidable, it primarily served to prevent the beings within the array from leaving. There were many more powerful arrays than the Ceiling Array. Chu Xian used this array merely to slightly restrict the zombies inside from leaving at will. With his current level of spiritual chi and spirit, he no longer needed to search for array nodes or manually place the flags. A simple toss under the guidance of his spiritual sense sufficed to position the flags and establish the array naturally. Corpse Refining Blood Fire. Chu Xian bellowed as spiritual chi surged from within him, engulfing the entire skyscraper from top to bottom. Even with his current reserves of spiritual chi, fully enveloping this 100-meter-tall building was somewhat strenuous. Chu Xian immediately took out several bottles of chi revival water and drank them to replenish his overly depleted spiritual chi. Thus, the entire skyscraper and its zombies were enveloped by his spiritual chi. The zombie matriarch sensed the change in the environment and began to howl uneasily. Following its directives, a portion of the lesser zombies split off and charged in 3 different directions. However, it was as if they had run into a wall of air. No matter how they charged, they could not leave a 10-meter radius around the building. The matriarch, both shocked and enraged, bellowed out. It fixated its gaze on Chu Xian, who was suspended in midair. Its brain, no larger than a walnut, concluded that this human must be responsible for everything. If it could kill him, all problems would be solved. However, no sooner had the matriarch issued a piercing scream, directing over 300 lesser zombies toward the rooftop of the high-rise than the surrounding air seemed to ignite instantly. Boom! Flames instantly enveloped the entire building, shooting straight into the sky. The intense heat forced Ti Xingliang and Ji Xingyu to retreat repeatedly. What's going on? Fire? Ji Xingyu exclaimed in surprise. He actually possesses elemental talents? Shouldn't he be an enhancement talent? He Xingliang said gravely. Could it be dual talents? Superhumans with dual talents were rare. He Xingliang had heard that such individuals existed in the capital Hanjing of the Han country, but he had never seen one with his own eyes. Squeals of agony came from within the flames, where the lesser zombies' flesh sizzled like hot oil, fueling the fire even further. Their bones were reduced to ash. In the span of 5 to 6 minutes, every zombie within the building from the top floor to the basement was incinerated by the dreadful fire. The accumulation of corpses only made the fire burn more fiercely. This was the terrifying aspect of Corpse Refining Blood Fire. If deployed on a large-scale battlefield, it could burn continuously for months or even years, until all corpses were completely consumed. Long, Hu, and Bao retreated far away, fearing even a touch of the corpse fire. Bao, in particular, ran especially fast. Long and Hu, seeing its disgraceful behavior, could hardly contain their irritation. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It's all your fault, weakling. Just a few blasts from these native zombies and you're already overwhelmed, they thought disdainfully. Forcing our master to take matters into his own hands. You really deserve a beating. Long and Hu exchanged a look, an unspoken agreement between them as they both swung their arms in a coordinated motion. A slap each, and Bao's head nearly made a full 360-degree turn. Roar. Unauthorized tail usage. If you spot this story on Amazon, report the violation. Inside the high-rise, the weakened roar of the zombie matriarch could be heard. All the lesser zombies and zombie eggs it had produced had become fuel for the terrifying corpse refining blood fire. Only the matriarch, due to its higher level and more tenacious vitality, had barely managed to cling to life, though 70% of its body had turned to char, clearly nearing death. Suddenly, the corpse refining blood fire rapidly rolled back and ultimately extinguished completely. Footsteps sounded. The zombie matriarch lifted its head and saw the man in black approaching. He walked among the remnants of zombies like the Grim Reaper himself, having retracted the dreadful blood fire. The look in the matriarch's eyes was no longer angry but filled with endless fear. "Take it back, keep it," Chu Xian casually ordered. Who, always eager, was the first to rush forward and hoisted the matriarch on his shoulder. Chu Xian nonchalantly threw 2 large blood pearls into the matriarch's mouth. The charred parts of its body began to regenerate at a visibly rapid rate, slowly, but resolutely. The matriarch was stunned. Such pure flesh and blood energy? "Let's go," Chu Xian said with a casual wave of his hand. Then, he and Long, Hu, and Bao rode the flying sword, disappearing without a trace. After Chu Xian had left, He Xingliang and Ji Xingyu emerged from their hiding place and approached the now darkened skyscraper. "The walls are cracked, the flames must have been extremely hot," Ji Xingyu whispered. He Xingliang reached out to touch the wall, immediately feeling the heat that had not yet fully dissipated. Normal people would have withdrawn their hands instantly, but he did not. Instead, he endured the burning sensation and kept his hand against the wall. After a moment, he whispered, "The temperature exceeded 2000 degrees, enough to melt steel. This man," he concluded, "is too terrifying." Ji Xingyu nodded, "He's strong enough, he doesn't need our help, nor can we curry any favors with him." He Xingliang responded calmly, "The gift is gone too, he took it himself." Ji Xingyu shrugged helplessly, "Then we'll find another gift. The zombie queen has many offspring, one less won't matter." After furrowing his brows for a moment, He Xingliang finally said, "The information from the ship gang indicates there's a zombie matriarch in Fengyang City in the northern part of Hanhai province. Let's head there." "Alright, I hope it stays quietly in Fengyang City. Let's hope it doesn't get stronger, run away, or, well, die," Ji Xingyu pondered, adding, "And also, let's hope it isn't dead already." He Xingliang stated evenly, "The probability of the matriarch advancing is 5%, the chance of it relocating its nest is 53%, the probability of death due to territorial conflicts is 49%, and due to superhuman intervention is 22%. Ji Xingyu tilted his head, looking at him, "I was just making conversation." "Why do you always bring up data?" He Xingliang replied, "Data is truth. Let's not waste any more time." Ji Xingyu coughed lightly, "I heard that Fengyang City is famous for its white spirits." He Xingliang said calmly, "I've already planned the route. There's a white spirit production base on the outskirts of the south city of Fengyang. We will pass by it." Ji Xingyu's mood instantly brightened, "Great. For the sake of white spirits, let's go." Hanhai Hotel. After landing, Chu Xian went straight to the small farm in the backyard. The spiritual plants there had been growing in an orderly manner, and many were ripe. Chu Xian harvested them. These plants could be used to concoct qi revival water, rejuvenation pills, and various other medicinal pills. These pills were consumed quickly and were indispensable. Next, Chu Xian planned out a larger area. This area included surrounding residential buildings and shops. As for the demolition work, that was left to Long, Hu, and the others. The 10 corpse puppets, idle and looking for something to do, were perfect for handling the forceful evictions. The thudding sounds even reached the ears of the staff at Black Blade Security Company, leaving them trembling daily. In just one day, the area Chu Xian had designated as the zombie farm was flattened. All kinds of bricks and building debris were also removed from the farm. As for the small stones and rubble, Chu Xian used a technique to turn them into mud. After these tasks, Chu Xian dug a large pit in the center of the farm and tossed the bewildered matriarch into it. He then arranged an array around the matriarch to ensure it could not escape. Chapter 67, Blood Evil Shadows completed. The 3 corpse generals. Plus, turn off reset. Chu Xian surveyed the zombie matriarch from his elevated position and stated coolly, "Your duty is to produce castrated versions of minor zombies. These diminutive creatures neither feed nor move, they are devoid of thought. They shall serve as the soil of this farm, understand?" The zombie matriarch nodded vigorously. Having endured the prior battle, it had completely abandoned any thoughts of resistance. Survival was its only concern now, and it was willing to do whatever was necessary. Soon, sufficiently nourished, the zombie matriarch began to lay eggs at full capacity. One by one, the zombie eggs were carefully placed into pits by the corpse puppets. After 4 to 5 days, the eggs would hatch. The flesh of the lesser zombies would then become a nurturing ground for spiritual plants. Thus, plants like earth evil fruit and blood fang fruit could be mass-produced. The strength of the corpse puppets under Chu Xian's command would also rapidly advance. Moreover, each time a young zombie was drained of energy by the spiritual plants and died, he would gain a measure of merit. Chu Xian stood on the rooftop, looking over the thriving zombie farm, a satisfied smile playing on his lips. This is what should be done. Soon, he entered the evil soul-snatching array and sat down to commence the refinement of the blood evil shadows. The key to crafting the blood evil shadows was a painstaking effort. It required both blood essence and evil qi. Chu Xian estimated that it might take another year to fully refine 3 blood evil shadows. Fortunately, he was located on this planet, where time flowed at only 1/10 the rate of Mystic Azure Realm. Although 2 years had passed here, only just over 2 months had elapsed in the Mystic Azure Realm. For a cultivator, a little over 2 months of cultivation was but the blink of an eye. What did a bit more time matter? Time passed day by day. Chu Xian's daily tasks were simple. By day, he refined the earth evil pills and other such medicines. By night, he worked on the blood evil shadows. 1 year later, Chu Xian was still seated within the evil soul-snatching array. His shadow stretched long and seemed to contain some bizarre, sinister spirit. The 3rd blood evil shadow is also refined. With this, I now have thrice the means to withstand lethal attacks. Often, I can rely on the blood evil shadows to trade injury for injury, life for life. See the ovalfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian revealed a satisfied smile. At that moment, 3 roars echoed from not far away. It was Long, Hu, and Bao. Feeling the end of Chu Xian's cultivation, they immediately rushed over from various locations. Before long, the trio stood before Chu Xian. Each of the 3 distinct corpse puppets now exuded an exceptionally formidable aura. Long, a bald brute, was robust in stature. Skilled in both physical combat and spellcraft, he was equally formidable in either arena, a true dual adept of magic and close combat. Hu, a towering giant, was even larger than Long. A true behemoth like a tank. Bao, lean and gaunt, was enveloped in a faint black glow. He resembled a dagger walking through the night, ever ready to harvest the lives of his enemies. Ensure your favorite authors get the support they deserve. Read this novel on the original website. However, the rat tail hanging from his mouth, not yet fully swallowed, somewhat dimmed the sharpness of this nocturnal blade, lending him a slightly foolish air. No more junk food, Chu Xian scolded. Bao hastily spat out the rat tail and shrank his neck to show he understood. Chu Xian glanced over and noticed that all 3 corpses had successfully advanced to the level of corpse generals. Long was at the highest level, a 2nd-tier corpse general. Hu and Bao followed, both 1st-tier corpse generals. Before long, more corpse puppets gathered from all directions. These were the first batch of corpse puppets casually refined by Chu Xian. Their levels varied, with the highest being the 8th tier and the lowest at the 5th tier. Chu Xian held no particular expectations for their advancement, allowing them to roam freely. They only needed to be somewhat useful at critical moments. 3 corpse generals, almost equivalent to 3 foundation establishment stage cultivators. If I were still in the mystic azure realm without the support of earth evil pills, I couldn't have so easily cultivated 3 corpse generals. Chu Xian smiled satisfactorily. Every visit to this zombie planet made him stronger, amassing more aces up his sleeve. Upon his return to the mystic azure realm, he would no longer be the minor foundation establishment cultivator he once was. This time, he had 3 corpse generals to assist, the corpse refining blood fire, and the blood evil shadows. His life-bound magical tool, the evil soul chain, had been fully transformed and manned by Huikong. He also possessed the merit bell, a top-grade defensive weapon. However, the efficiency of this evil soul-snatching array is now rather low. The evil chi it produces daily must support my cultivation and the consumption of the evil soul chain, which is slightly insufficient. Chu Xian surveyed his surroundings. He immediately noticed that the evil chi within the array had significantly weakened. If he continued to cultivate here, in no more than 3 months, the array's ambience would shift from an eerie ghostliness to birds chirping and flowers blooming. That would be unacceptable. Thus, Chu Xian needed to expand and strengthen the evil soul-snatching array. However, his current mastery of array techniques was insufficient to modify the evil soul-snatching array by himself. The only option was to replace the array. Upon his return to the mystic azure realm, his most crucial task would be to acquire a new array. Ideally, he would also purchase some array manuals to study and comprehend on his own. Secondly, the search for a second goo insect was his next task. This pursuit offered 2 methods. The first was to directly seek a goo insect of superior aptitude. However, given the vastness of the world, this method could take decades and likely would not yield results without considerable effort. Most likely, he would need to make a purchase. Already in possession of a second transformation goo insect like Gongxi, Chu Xian could no longer be satisfied with inferior first transformation goo insects. He would need to buy at least a second transformation goo, along with the necessary methods for its feeding and reproduction. This would not be cheap. The second method involved finding a goo that could mate with Gongxi and produce offspring. After consuming the strange blood, Gongxi had been enhanced to a second transformation, with significantly improved aptitude. If it could mate with another second transformation or even a third transformation goo, the offspring could potentially be stronger. This method was somewhat cheaper than the first. However, it was akin to a blind box, one could never predict what kind of offspring would result. Chu Xian planned to try both methods, not wishing to miss any opportunities. After ensuring all his affairs were in order, Chu Xian, accompanied by Long and Bao, and having plucked the soul of the python from the array, activated the blood mirror and vanished from sight. Inside the water curtain cave, strange lights flowed and Chu Xian materialized out of thin air. Upon appearing, he did not move but immediately calmed his mind to survey his surroundings. He detected no abnormalities. The array he had previously set up showed no signs of damage or activation, which eased his mind. Chu Xian then took out the soul of the 2-headed python, integrating it into the array. Having been transformed into a malicious soul after such a long period and already thoroughly subdued by Huikong, the python was very obedient. The process of refining the main soul of the array went smoothly, taking just 1 day. A day later, the python roared to the heavens, officially becoming the main soul of the array. Henceforth, when Chu Xian was not in the water curtain cave, the python would guard the place. Bolstered by the local array and its inherent evil chi, the python was capable of withstanding the onslaught of a 6th-layer foundation establishment cultivator. Having completed these tasks, Chu Xian left with peace of mind. After so many days of secluded cultivation, it was indeed time to observe the changes in his surroundings. Chu Xian flew around and found that his 3 senior brothers, Li Xianming, Lu Zhenxiong, and Wu Teng, were still in seclusion. Indeed, in the mountains, there are no calendars, in cultivation, there are no years. This was to be expected, after all, once one reached the foundation establishment stage, a lifespan of at least 200 years was guaranteed. Even for those who practiced the demonic path and employed dark methods, reducing their lifespan, they still lived for at least 170 to 80 years. Thus, spending 3 or 4 years in seclusion was normal. As for their master, Wan Wuying, he would typically seclude himself for at least 10 years at a time. However, Chu Xian noticed that Su Ming, Chen Ge, Wei Hua, and Bai Feng, 4 qi refining stage disciples, were busy every day. As he soared through the sky on his heavenly star flying sword, he saw Chen Ge and Wei Hua escorting a group of mortal artisans. They seemed to be moving them to a plane within the territory of the Extreme Yin Cave. This is a good opportunity to ask them about recent changes. With a flicker, Chu Xian appeared above Chen Ge and the others. Sensing a powerful presence, Chen Ge and Wei Hua immediately tensed and prepared for confrontation. Upon realizing it was Chu Xian, they relaxed. Chen Ge exclaimed with joy, "It's Uncle Master Chu." "Uncle Master Chu, you've only been in seclusion for a few months, how come you're already out?" Chen Ge and Wei Hua were friends with Chu Xian before. Now that Chu Xian had advanced to the foundation establishment stage, they respectfully addressed him as Uncle Master. Deep down, they still took pride in having been friends with him. Wei Hua, addressing the mortals, announced loudly, "This is our Extreme Yin Cave's foundation establishment stage Daoist master, Chu Xian, Uncle Master Chu." When Chu Xian approached with his flying sword, the mortals had already looked up to him with admiration. Now, hearing Wei Hua's introduction, their respect deepened. Foundation Establishment Stage Immortal Master. To these mortals, who could not cultivate, he was like a deity. "I happen to be free, I'll escort you to your destination," Chu Xian said casually. Chen Ge and Wei Hua were touched. "Thank you, Uncle Master." The mortals were also grateful. Wu province was rife with rampant snakes, vermin, and other pests. At night, malevolent spirits and ghosts appeared. Even with qi refining stage Taoist masters like Chen Ge and Wei Hua escorting them, casualties were inevitable. The mortality rate of the last group of mortals had even reached 30%. But now, with a foundation establishment immortal master appearing, their safety was much more assured. "Chen Ge, come here," Chu Xian called, beckoning him over. Chen Ge approached Chu Xian with his head bowed, fearing that he was about to be reprimanded for some shortcomings in his duties. Chu Xian chuckled upon seeing his apprehension. "Relax, I'm not here to punish you. I just have some questions to ask." Chen Ge breathed a sigh of relief. "Please ask, Uncle Master." Chu Xian gathered information about the recent months. As he suspected, there were no significant changes among the 5 orthodox sections. The escape of Wan Wuying from the Misty Manor and the death of the talented monk Huikong from the Golden Dragon Temple had dissipated into obscurity. Neither the Divine Star sect nor the Golden Dragon Temple wanted to publicize these incidents. Such matters were not flattering. The author's narrative has been misappropriated. Report any instances of this story on Amazon. If it became widely known that Divine Star sect, a leader among the 5 orthodox sects, had imprisoned Wan Wuying and used his blood to feed ghosts to refine sword qi, it would cause an uproar within the bounds of Yu country. The reputation of the Divine Star sect as the leader of the orthodox sects would be greatly compromised. All cultivators across the land would realize that both Divine Star sect and Golden Dragon Temple, although they appeared righteous and eliminated demons and evils, were in fact hypocritical and deceitful. "Oh, Uncle Master Chu, there has been one significant issue recently," Chen Ge spoke in a low voice. "Heavenly Seal sect is preparing to wage a major conflict against the native sects of Wu province. It's said that a Golden Core elder from Heavenly Seal sect was ambushed and severely injured by one of Wu province's native sects, which has prompted them to accelerate their actions." Chu Xian couldn't help but laugh. He had long thought Heavenly Seal sect's actions were inefficient. They should have gathered their full strength and marched east to sweep through the native sects of Wu province with their superior power. Instead, they had sent only a small contingent of cultivators, established the Flying Mountain Hall, and moved civilians, effectively nibbling away at their objectives rather than pushing through decisively. Now, with a Golden Core cultivator seriously injured and in pain, they were finally thinking of deploying major forces. What were they doing earlier? However, the reason wasn't hard to guess. There must be a power struggle within the Heavenly Seal sect. The native sects of Wu province were neither particularly strong nor weak. If Heavenly Seal sect deployed its full strength, it could undoubtedly sweep the native sects completely. However, in their desperation to preserve themselves, the native sects would likely fight back fiercely. Heavenly Seal sect would inevitably suffer some casualties, even deaths among their ranks. Thus, deciding which faction within the Heavenly Seal sect should expend its forces against the native sects of Wu province became a manipulable issue. No matter who it was, they would want to preserve the strength of their own faction as much as possible and strive to reap the most benefits from the victory. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Wherever there are people, there is strife. Even among cultivators who enjoy extended lifespans, this is no exception. As one of the 5 orthodox sects, with its vast territory and numerous personnel, the Heavenly Seal sect naturally experiences its share of internal conflicts. Xianxia spoke in a conspiratorial tone. Now, quite a number of cultivators have rushed over from Heavenly Seal sect's main hall to the Flying Mountain Hall. Just among the Foundation establishment stage alone, there are 5, and Qi refining stage disciples even more, around 70 to 80. And that's just the first batch. They all look disheartened as if they are the disgruntled elements within the sect, dispatched here as a form of relegation. Chu Xian nodded slightly. No one wants to be involved in such life-threatening tasks. Those first thrown into the battlefield often face a higher mortality rate. This first group sent to the Flying Mountain Hall were either unaffiliated or sacrificial pawns in the ongoing power struggles. Xianxia chuckled. Uncle Master Chu, these fellows are busy trying to boost their powers, employing every means possible. They don't shy away from using demonic methods either. Chu Xian smiled faintly. Judging by your expression, it seems you've made a tidy profit from them. Xianxia grinned like a sly fox. He. Just a small profit from the Qi refining stage disciples. If Uncle Master Chu joins in, we're sure to make a killing. Chu Xian was intrigued. This was indeed a good idea. Those first batch of cultivators involved in the war would definitely do everything possible to enhance their survival chances. With his collection of blood beads, large blood beads, evil Qi, corpse puppets, and the techniques, spells, and magical tools obtained from slaying orthodox cultivators, these items would certainly be in high demand. Very well. Chu Xian nodded slightly, giving Xianxia a few thoughtful glances. Xianxia quickly caught on and hurriedly said, I know the location of the black market. Once we've delivered this batch of mortals, I'll take Uncle Master Chu there. Chu Xian smiled slightly. This young man was proving quite resourceful. With Chu Xian, a Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator, personally emanating Foundation Establishment Stage aura and leading the escort, the journey was mostly free of incidents. Native cultivators intent on slaughtering the mortals withdrew as soon as they sensed Chu Xian's presence. Damn it. Why would a Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator escort civilians? Retreat. Chu Xian and his 2 companions eventually escorted the group of mortals to a place called Plain City. This city was under the protection of the Extremine Cave, and it was the first mortal city in the region. Plain City was relatively new, having been established just over 2 months ago. It contained only 2 main roads, one running east to west and the other north to south, with only a few hundred houses in total. As for the population, it numbered just over 2,000 people. It resembled more a village or a small town than a city. Moreover, given Wu province's infestation of vermin, snakes, and ghosts, constructing towering city walls around Plain City was the top priority. Therefore, the construction of houses and shops had to be postponed. However, these laborious and tedious tasks did not require Chu Xian's supervision. As a Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator and a mainstay of the Extremine Cave, his role was far more significant. His assistance in escorting the mortals had already earned their profound gratitude. The more meticulous supervisory tasks were left to Qi refining stage disciples like Xianxia and Wei Hua. After arriving in Plain City, Xianxia briefly instructed Wei Hua, then led Chu Xian away from the city, heading north. Finding Qianji's pace too slow, Chu Xian decided to carry him on his Heavenly Star flying sword. Soon, they landed outside a market hidden amidst lush mountains and rivers. Chinga rubbed his head, his expression dazed. He sheepishly said, "Uncle Master, your flying sword is too fast, I feel dizzy." Chu Xian chuckled lightly and with a casual slap, a burst of spiritual qi flowed into Qinji's body, quickly dissipating his dizziness. Qingu immediately showed his gratitude. "Thank you, Uncle Master." The two of them disguised themselves, completely altering their appearances, before stepping into the market. As they moved forward, Qingu briefed Chu Xian on the market's situation. Through Qinji's description, Chu Xian quickly learned various details about the market. The market was unnamed, simply a gathering place that formed from the first batch of Heavenly Seal sect cultivators who had arrived in Wu province. Later, local rogue cultivators heard about it and came, which led to the establishment of a market. The order within the market was maintained by a few of the strongest foundation establishment stage cultivators. Generally, as long as no major trouble arose, those foundation establishment stage cultivators preferred to keep to themselves. "Let's first see what the market is like," Chu Xian suggested. He moved from stall to stall, with Chenga following closely behind. Indeed, Chu Xian and Chenga saw an abundance of items favored by demonic cultivators in the market. Blood beads, especially, were in high demand and fiercely competed over. In this unnamed market, where every cultivator had disguised their identity, there was no hesitation in purchasing such demonic treasures. Disguised, they thought, "I'll buy blood beads, so what? Going to report me to the Heavenly Seal sect headquarters?" Apart from blood beads, corpse puppets and goo insects were also highly popular. Chu Xian witnessed cultivators arguing incessantly over a corpse puppet with medium-grade aptitude. The price was driven up by all parties involved and was eventually sold for 300 small spiritual stones. Stolen content warning: this tale belongs on Royal Road. Report any occurrences elsewhere. For context, a medium-grade magic tool would typically cost around 200 small spiritual stones. The fact that this corpse puppet sold for 100 small spiritual stones more than a comparable magic tool illustrated the lengths these cultivators would go to enhance their own power. Regarding the goo insects, many appeared to be privately bred by the cultivators themselves and were now being sold. Goo insects, creatures that feed on flesh and blood, are traditionally considered part of demonic practices. It was clear, however, that many cultivators secretly bred these creatures, though unfortunately, all available were only first transformation goo, not the second transformation ones Chu Xian was seeking. Beyond corpse puppets and goo insects, there were also pills, talismans, arrays, and magic tools, more orthodox treasures that were being sold. Chu Xian perused these but found nothing particularly compelling. "Uncle Master, I have a few regular customers who have bought many demonic beast blood beads from me. Do you want to?" Chinga murmured quietly. See the novel, ire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian smiled and tossed him a storage bag. "Sell these items for me. I'll give you a 10% commission." Chinga caught the bag and immediately opened it. He was stunned by the myriad of treasures inside: blood beads, evil chi, low-grade and medium-grade magic tools, rejuvenating pills, chi-restoring pills. Uncle Master is too wealthy. The 10% commission on these treasures. Chinga swallowed hard, envisioning a small mountain of small spiritual stones tumbling toward him. However, Chinga did not let the prospect of wealth cloud his judgment. He cautiously said, "Uncle Master, there's too much treasure here. I'm worried it might attract unwanted attention." Chu Xian casually summoned the corpse nurturing tower and with a simple gesture, a gaunt corpse puppet that seemed to walk within the shadows appeared. Its muscles were pronounced, hinting at terrifying explosive power. Chu Xian said coolly, "Bao, follow him. Anyone who dares to harm Chinga will be dealt with without mercy." Roar. Bao growled lowly, baring his sharp fangs. The appearance of this corpse puppet immediately made the surrounding cultivators pause and stare. Emitting such a formidable aura, its level was obvious. It was surely a corpse general. The controller of a corpse general must be a foundation establishment stage cultivator. The other cultivators quickly bowed their heads, not daring to offend such a prominent figure in even the slightest. Chingu was deeply moved and assured, "Uncle Master, I will definitely complete the task." "Go on, I trust you," Chu Xian patted him on the shoulder with a smile. He watched as Chingu departed, then strode towards the tallest building in the market. This structure was equally nondescript, unremarkable at first glance. If not for Chingu pointing it out as the tea house established jointly by 3 foundation establishment stage cultivators, Chu Xian wouldn't have found anything peculiar about it. "Stop, this tea house does not permit casual entry." At the entrance stood a burly qi refining stage cultivator who blocked Chu Xian's path, speaking in a condescending tone. Chu Xian didn't utter a word but simply unleashed his foundation establishment stage aura. The burly cultivator fell to his knees with a thud, sweating profusely. He hurriedly said, "Junior did not recognize that the senior is a foundation establishment cultivator. Please forgive me." "It's fine. Go call those 3 foundation establishment fellow Daoists," Chu Xian said casually. "I have significant business to discuss with them." Yes. "I'll contact the 3 seniors right away," the burly cultivator quickly responded, then immediately ushered Chu Xian into a private room on the 3rd floor of the tea house. "What tea would the senior like to drink?" "We have the special produce from Imperial Spirit Mountain, Keishi Jian, which leaves a lingering fragrance on the lips and teeth, and also," the cultivator offered. "Just give me Kumao Feng, do you have it?" Chu Xian asked nonchalantly. The cultivator's face lit up with a smile. Yes. "It seems the senior knows his tea. Kumao Feng's initial bitterness is harsh, but it has an endless aftertaste." He quickly brewed the tea for Chu Xian and asked, "Does the senior need any pastries?" Chu Xian waved his hand dismissively, "That's enough, just wait outside." Yes. "If the senior needs anything, just call me. One of the 3 foundation establishment seniors is on his way and will arrive shortly," the cultivator said, then backed out of the room, maintaining an utmost respectful demeanor from start to finish, as if fearing any dissatisfaction from Chu Xian could lead to severe consequences. Chu Xian chuckled lightly. Such was the treatment for a foundation establishment stage cultivator. In the eyes of a qi refining stage cultivator, someone at the foundation establishment stage was akin to a big cultivator, almost like heaven itself. Chapter 70, Nurturing Evil Array, Illustrated Guide to Demonic Arrays Plus, Turn Off Reset. After drinking 2 cups of tea, a figure ascended the staircase and entered the private room on the 3rd floor where Chu Xian was seated. Chu Xian looked up to see a young cultivator dressed in white. This cultivator's disguise technique was not particularly sophisticated. While it might suffice for other foundation establishment stage cultivators, Chu Xian had spent years mastering the art of disguise to evade the relentless pursuits of orthodox cultivators. He had reached a level of mastery where unless a golden core master appeared, his true identity remained undetectable. But this young cultivator in front of him, Chu Xian saw right through him. The young man's true face appeared quite youthful. To have reached the foundation establishment stage at such an age suggested notable talent. Yet, he was sent to Wu province as part of the first wave of cultivators to assault the native sects, a victim of factional struggles within his sect. "Greetings, fellow Daoist. My name is Song Feng. May I ask how to address you?" the young cultivator asked with a smile. Chu Xian casually responded, "He Liang." After all, they were both using pseudonyms. Any name would do. Song Feng smiled and asked, "What do you have for sale, fellow Daoist? What do you need?" Chu Xian casually flicked a large blood bead towards him. Song Feng caught it and examined it closely, his expression turning to surprise. The blood bead was of exceptional quality, perfectly round and smooth. A faint, sweet scent of blood emanated from it, a rare find indeed. "This kind of large blood bead, I'll take as many as you have," Song Feng said with a smile. Chu Xian nonchalantly replied, "Don't rush. What I need might not be something you can provide." Song Feng laughed, "You underestimate me, fellow Daoist. Please, go ahead. Chu Xian named 3 specific arrays: the evil soul refining array, the polluted blood nurturing evil array, and the returning soul blood evil array. Do you have any of these? These 3 arrays were superior to the evil soul snatching array that Chu Xian currently used. The latter 2 were even considered top-tier arrays for Foundation establishment stage cultivators, extending their coverage at least 10 times compared to the evil soul snatching array. Hearing the names of these arrays, Song Feng's expression shifted subtly. He indeed did not have access to them. The arrays Chu Xian mentioned are all top-grade demonic arrays. Everything within the range of these arrays would be killed to nurture the evil qi. Given that the orthodox sects were vigorously clamping down on actions harming mortals, such demonic arrays were also being confiscated. The Heavenly Seal sect didn't gain much from the recent conflicts and thus had few demonic arrays confiscated. Song Feng admitted with an embarrassed smile. Fellow Daoist, I don't have such grand arrays, but I do have a high-quality corpse puppet I've cultivated for many years, now at the 9th level. Chu Xian interrupted with a wave of his hand. No? Then let's not discuss further. His interest was solely in the arrays. Song Feng persisted. Fellow Daoist, I have 3 superior grade magic tools I can sell at a discount. I just want large blood beads. Chu Xian shook his head again. I only want the arrays. Stolen content warning, this tale belongs on Royal Road. Report any occurrences elsewhere. As Song Feng was about to speak further, footsteps approached the stairs. A burly cultivator appeared, overhearing the conversation, and interjected with a grin. Arrays? I have them. Chu Xian nodded to him, signaling him to sit. May I see them? Of course. The burly cultivator glanced at Song Feng. Fellow Daoist Song, the gentleman isn't interested in anything else. You can leave, this deal is mine now. Song Feng sighed softly, gave Chu Xian a few more looks, and then turned to leave. Chu Xian chuckled. How shall I address you? The burly cultivator sat down in front of Chu Xian, grabbing some pastries and stuffing them into his mouth. Names are all made up anyway, call me whatever you want. Just call me Old Han. Chu Xian smiled. This man was straightforward and interesting. Old Han pulled out a set of array discs from his storage bag. Here, the nurturing evil array, take a look. Chu Xian glanced at it and frowned. This nurturing evil array is only mid-tier for the Foundation establishment stage, I don't need it. With a resigned smile, the Han-named cultivator said, Fellow Daoist, the grand formations you specifically requested have long since vanished. I suspect that even the remnants of the Infinite Sect may not possess such grand formations. This nurturing evil array is quite sufficient, and I will include a tome of array secrets as a bonus. If you have some talent for formations, you might be able to combine this nurturing array with other grand formations, perhaps meeting your requirements. Saying this, the cultivator pushed forward a thin booklet. The cover bore 5 words, Illustrated Guide to Demonic Arrays. Chu Xian briefly perused it. He found it contained numerous arrays for the Foundation establishment stage and Qi refining stage, all categorized as demonic methods. Clearly, it was the work of some master of arrays who favored studying unconventional paths. It will suffice. Name your price. Chu Xian nodded, flicking a large blood pearl toward him. The Han-named cultivator turned it over in his hands repeatedly, marveling, well, such a quality blood pearl. How many cities did you slaughter? Strange, I've heard no recent news of any mortal cities being ravaged. Chu Xian did not respond, merely sipping his tea. The robust cultivator clearly sought to probe him, but naturally, he would reveal nothing. Seeing his probing yielded no fruit, the robust cultivator was not angered. He chuckled lightly. If they are all of this quality, I can offer a higher price, 50 small spiritual stones for each large blood pearl. My nurturing evil array, along with the illustrated guide to demonic arrays, roughly amounts to 500 small spiritual stones. Just give me 10 large blood pearls. Chu Xian nodded. The usual rate for a large blood pearl was 40 small spiritual stones each. However, with the dissolution of the Infinite Sect, the difficulty of crafting large blood pearls had sharply increased, naturally driving up their price. To his surprise, they had now reached 50 small spiritual stones each. Here you go. Chu Xian flicked 10 large blood pearls towards him. The burly cultivator, with a mischievous laugh, caught them and said, "Good, remember to look me up if you have more such deals. I have plenty more items here, corpse puppets, goo insects, blood techniques, sinister pills, demonic talismans." Chu Xian's interest was piqued. "Do you have any second transformation goo?" The burly cultivator blinked. "Second transformation goo? Those are rare. But I know someone who has bred many goo insects, including some second transformation ones. I could connect you." Chu Xian nodded. "Okay." After speaking, he tossed a few more blood pearls. "There will be a generous reward once the matter is settled." The cultivator laughed. "Straightforward. I like your style. However, that person hasn't arrived in Wu province yet. When he does, I'll contact you." Chu Xian nodded, leaving behind a mother-child stone. "When the time comes, crush this jade, and I will be informed." Search *the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The mother-child stone is comprised of a mother and child stone. Should the child stone be shattered, the mother stone will also show cracks, no matter the distance. He should have left a sound-transmitting jade. But he couldn't stay in the cave waiting indefinitely. If he were to cultivate on the zombie planet, the sound-transmitting jade would not serve its purpose. Thus, he left the mother-child stone. "Alright," the cultivator named Old Han nodded, watching Chu Xian depart. Standing on the 3rd floor, he looked through the window at Chu Xian's retreating figure, stroking his chin thoughtfully. Such stable spiritual qi, and his disguise technique shows no flaws. Unlike that Song Feng, who was seen through at a glance, this man could produce 10 large blood pearls in one go. Clearly, he has more hidden away. Wonder where he got these large blood pearls from. Forget it, better not to act rashly given his unknown strength. Who knows what else he has up his sleeve? The cultivator shook his head, cautiously withdrawing his gaze. After the gaze of the Han cultivator shifted away, Chu Xian finally relaxed the grip on his clenched right hand. His sixth sense was particularly sharp, perceiving the other's stare immediately. However, since the cultivator neither followed nor harbored any murderous intent, Chu Xian felt no need to act. He knows his place, he thought. Leaving the tea house, Chu Xian quickly located Qingge at a stall. A gloomy aura surrounded Bao, who stood beside Qingge, conspicuous among the qi-refining stage cultivators present, yet no one dared to provoke him. The presence of this corpse general deterred all but the foolhardy from causing any trouble for Qingge, who was now quite pleased with himself. He had visited this unnamed market several times before, but never treated it as well as today. Upon seeing Chu Xian, Qingge quickly rose and whispered, "Uncle Master." Chu Xian nodded slightly, glancing over the stall to see that most items had been sold. "I'll leave the rest to you. I'm heading back to my cave abode now. After everything is sold, he will escort you to my abode." He casually motioned towards Bao. "Yes." Qingge nodded earnestly. Chu Xian left the nameless market, circled a few times to ensure no one was following, and then soared into the sky with his flying sword, returning to the water curtain cave. Upon arriving, he immediately activated the blood mirror to travel to the zombie planet. In the past, traversing between worlds required waiting for the blood mirror's energy to replenish. However, with his increasingly substantial resources, Chu Xian could now expedite the energy recharge using spiritual stones. Presently, the illustrated guide to demonic arrays requires lengthy contemplation. Naturally, he would not undertake this in the mystic Azure realm. Any endeavor demanding extensive time should be conducted on the Blue Star, where the passage of time is 1/10 of that in the mystic Azure realm. At the Hanhai Hotel rooftop, Chu Xian spread out the illustrated guide to demonic arrays and studied them meticulously. His talent in formation arts was average, neither poor nor exceptional, but his willingness to dedicate effort to this craft had earned him considerable proficiency. Previously, he had slain Huikong and acquired a book from Huikong's storage bag, the Foundation Establishment Stage Array Formations Detailed Analysis. This book contained only partial arrays for the Foundation establishment stage, primarily from the Divine Star sect and Golden Dragon Temple, marked by a strong Orthodox sect influence, which Chu Xian found inapplicable. However, formation arts were universally applicable, understanding one could unlock others. By studying deeply, he unearthed many subtleties. Now, revisiting the illustrated guide to demonic arrays with his prior knowledge surfacing, he quickly gained new insights. So that's it. This is the secret to nurturing evil array. The first step is to kill the beings within it. The second step is to combine the resentment of the beings with yin qi to cultivate yin evil qi. I already have the formation for the second step, only the first is missing. If you stumble upon this tale on Amazon, it's taken without the author's consent. Report it. Chu Xian followed the diagrams and soon selected the formation best suited for his needs, the soul-capturing array. This array, a premium qi refining stage formation, was typically inscribed on surfaces of magical tools like copper bells or chimes. Upon sounding, it could captivate the soul, seizing the initiative in battle. Chu Xian planned to integrate the soul-capturing array with the nurturing evil array. Within this range, the souls of living beings would be extracted, leading to their death. The resultant resentment and yin qi would amalgamate, forming yin evil qi. These souls, transformed under the influence of yin evil qi into ghosts, would gradually strengthen. Over time, these ghosts would bolster his myriad souls banner, a win-win indeed. He wins twice. Without hesitation, Chu Xian entered the nascent yin evil soul-capturing formation, harvesting the fledgling ghosts into his myriad souls banner, then dismantling the formation to replan its position. With East Lake City now largely free of zombies, he chose not to set the formation there. Instead, after circling the area with his Heavenly Star flying sword, he selected Two Dragons City near East Lake City. In the southern region of Two Dragons City lay a human forbidden zone, a paradise for killer bees. Under the Queen Bee's command, they relentlessly hunted all living things in the area. Any human who strayed into their territory was quickly reduced to bones, leaving scarcely any remains. The survivors' camps around Two Dragons City, terrified of this place, had long since relocated further away. Yet, what was a fearsome wasteland to survivors was a treasure trove to Chu Xian. Killer bees, excellent. Chu Xian mused. The queen should be prolific. I hope she can produce enough killer bees before being slain by the formation. Chu Xian cast all his formation flags, swiftly enveloping the southern area of Two Dragons City with an invisible barrier. The range of his new formation now spanned 100 square kilometers, covering an entire district of Two Dragons City, far surpassing the scope of the previous yin evil soul snatching array. Let's call it the soul-capturing evil nurturing array, he decided, opting for a straightforward combination of the terms for soul-capturing and nurturing evil. After all, it was a traditional way among formation predecessors to name their creations. Once activated, the array began to emit a terrifying yin qi. Chu Xian tossed the ghosts from his myriad souls banner into it. The killer bees within the formation's range quickly became disoriented, plummeting to the ground where they died swiftly. Their weak souls were rapidly extracted by the array. The resentment and yin qi generated from their sudden death swiftly interacted, condensing into a formidable yin evil qi. See the novel, F.ire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The stronger killer bees were slain by the ghosts, turning the area into a veritable ghost realm. Everywhere lay the souls of killer bees, everywhere roamed the ghosts. In time, a vast harvest of yin evil qi would be ready. Chinga quietly waited outside at the water curtain cave until the mist cleared, revealing a pathway. He hurried in and immediately saw Chu Xian standing by a small lake. Uncle Master Chu, as you commanded, all the items have been sold, he reported. Here are all the earnings. Chinga respectfully handed over a storage bag. Chu Xian inspected it. Over 2,000 small spiritual stones piled up like a small mountain. He had estimated a maximum of 1,300. The selling price had far exceeded his expectations. It seemed that the cultivators were indeed desperate to enhance their power, resorting to any means necessary, even demonic methods. Good, according to our agreement, these 200 small spiritual stones are yours, Chu Xian said, flicking his hand. Thank you, Uncle Master Chu. Chen Gu was tearfully grateful. 200 small spiritual stones. He would have to toil day and night for many days to earn such an amount, yet now he had acquired it in a single day. Indeed, he had chosen the right person to follow. Go now, I will need you again, Chu Xian said with a slight smile. Yes. Command me to my death, Uncle Master Chu. Chen Gu responded, overwhelmingly excited. 5 days later, Chu Xian returned to his cave abode from the Blue Star after noticing cracks in the mother stone. He visited the unnamed market's tea house once more and indeed encountered the Han Cultivator there. This time, the Han Cultivator was accompanied by a gaunt, hollow-eyed cultivator. Upon seeing Chu Xian, the Han Cultivator laughed heartily. Fellow Daoist, this is the man I was telling you about. We call him the spirit insect Daoist. Chu Xian nodded in greeting. The gaunt cultivator looked him over and frowned. Are you seeking a second transformation Gu? Such Gu must reside within a flesh and blood organ. You don't appear to be someone who nurtures Gu. It seems you lack such an organ. He frowned further. If you don't have the requisite organ, let's not waste each other's time. Chu Xian smiled faintly. Cultivators who reared Gu, like this spirit insect Daoist, were often emaciated, their vitality seemingly drained, as if leached by a succubus. But Chu Xian had ample vitality to sustain a Gu without suffering its backlash. His robust appearance might indeed raise doubts. Chu Xian gestured with his hand, and the gleaming blood-steel wire emerged from his palm. The spirit insect Daoist, who had been about to leave, halted abruptly. Blood-steel wire? Second transformation? A look of surprise replaced his indifference. Blood-steel wire was typically a basic first transformation Gu with a low potential. It was unexpected for someone to possess a second transformation blood-steel wire. He leaned in, curious to take a closer look. However, Chu Xian withdrew the steel wires back into his blood pouch. My Gu, do not stare, he stated calmly. The Han Cultivator interjected to ease the tension. Haha, fellow Daoist spirit insect, indeed, one should not scrutinize another's Gu too closely. The spirit insect Daoist nodded, then suggested, let's sit and talk. The three of them took their seats, with Chu Xian and the spirit insect Daoist facing each other, while the Han Cultivator busily devoured pastries and sipped tea on the side. What second transformation Gu do you have? Chu Xian inquired. The spirit insect Daoist held up 3 fingers. I possess 3 second transformation Gu. First, the iron armor shell. Second, the thought nurturer. Third, the Qi Si seed. Chu Xian's eyebrows rose slightly upon hearing the 3 Gu types, all of which he had read about in the Bloodworm's tome. Search *the novel_fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Iron armor shell, a second transformation Gu that secretes a substance to continually fortify the cultivator's skin. When attacked, it rapidly increases the secretion, making the skin extremely hard in an instant, strong enough to withstand a full blow from a high-grade magical tool. This book's true home is on another platform. Check it out there for the real experience. Thought Nurturer, another second transformation Gu that must reside within the brain. It enhances a cultivator's mental strength, allowing them to control multiple magic tools at once. However, even if fed well, it could backfire as its preferred diet is the cultivator's very soul. Located in the brain, it has constant access to the soul and might give in to temptation. Qi Si seed, unlike the others, this is considered a third transformation Gu capable of reaching third transformation maturity, akin to a golden core tier, provided it has enough nourishment. However, it is notoriously difficult to elevate from the second to the third tier, leading many to classify it as a second transformation Gu. This Gu doesn't reside in the limbs, trunk, or brain but must be nurtured within the cultivator's Qi Si. It consumes any excess spiritual Qi during cultivation and can release it when needed, effectively acting as a second, albeit much smaller, Qi Si. This little bit of spiritual Qi can be crucial in life or death situations. All three goo were impressive, and Chu Xian wondered how the spirit insect Daoist had managed to nurture them undetected by the heavenly seal sect scrutiny, especially since cultivating goo was considered a demonic practice by the orthodox sects. These three are quite remarkable, name your price, Chu Xian nodded. The spirit insect Daoist quickly responded, iron armor shell, early second transformation, 1000 small spiritual stones. Thought nurturer, early second transformation, 1000 small spiritual stones. Chi seed, mid-second transformation, 1800 small spiritual stones. Chu Xian frowned. These prices were exorbitant. Typically, early second transformation goo was priced between mid-grade and high-grade magical tools, usually around 500 small spiritual stones. The spirit insect Daoist had doubled the going rate. Clearly, he was trying to take advantage of Chu Xian's apparent wealth. Even though Chu Xian had plenty of spirit stones, he was not about to spend them recklessly. The Han Cultivator interjected to support the spirit insect Daoist, fellow Daoist it's normal for prices to rise these days. You know why, don't you? Chu Xian considered for a moment, then suddenly asked, what's the price for a single mating of the goo? The spirit insect Daoist was taken aback, then scoffed, you think you can try mating goo? After investing huge efforts, you might end up with nothing but a deformed goo. I advise you to abandon this idea and just buy a second transformation goo. He now saw Chu Xian as a novice in goo cultivation, likely inspired by something he read and eager to experiment himself. Chu Xian remained calm, just tell me the price. As for the results, I'll bear them, it doesn't concern you. The spirit insect Daoist snorted, for the 3 goo, each mating session will cost 50 small spiritual stones. Chu Xian nodded, this price was acceptable, far more so than the previous outrageous figures for the goo themselves. The spirit insect Daoist added, the mating process must be completed here. That's fine, Chu Xian agreed. Soon, the iron armor shell, thought nurturer, and Chi seed were sequentially mated with the steel wire. There's no reproductive isolation among goo, any can mate with any other, though the offspring might be bizarre. While strong offspring were rare, weak and deformed ones were common. After settling the payment, the spirit insect Daoist left without delay. The Han Cultivator exchanged a few pleasantries and then departed as well. Chu Xian didn't linger either, heading straight for the blue star. The process from goo laying eggs to the hatchlings emerging required time, a perfect task for the zombie planet, where time flowed differently. Chu Xian sat meditating within the soul-capturing evil nurturing array, simultaneously absorbing evil chi and refining a large blood pearl. His cultivation progressed rapidly. After laying 3 distinctively colored eggs, black, white, and blue, corresponding to the iron armor shell, thought nurturer, and Chi seed, Gongxi fell into a deep sleep due to the enormous energy expenditure. Days passed, and the eggshells hardened. One day, the black eggshell began to crack. Chu Xian felt a stir in his heart and immediately ceased his meditation, turning his attention to the black goo egg. The cracks on the surface of the black goo egg spread like a spiderweb. Under Chu Xian's watchful eyes, it suddenly split open. A soft black larva lay within the egg, its body covered with a shell so delicate that it seemed to tear like soft paper at the slightest touch. Its limbs were exceedingly fragile, seemingly ready to break upon contact. Born feeble, the vitality of the larva dwindled away like unraveling threads. This larva, a product of the mating between the iron armor shell and the blood steel wire, was a deformed creation. It died a pitiful death without even needing Chu Xian's intervention. He shook his head, it appeared this mating attempt had failed. The failure of goo mating was a common occurrence. Even if other goo breeders had successfully mated the iron armor shell and blood steel wire, success was not guaranteed in Chu Xian's case. After all, each goo had its unique dietary and developmental requirements. Even highly skilled goo breeders could only document which goo pairings had a higher chance of success, they could never guarantee a perfect outcome. Undeterred, Chu Xian calmed his mind and continued his cultivation, waiting for the next 2 eggs to hatch. A month later, both of the remaining eggs developed cracks. Under Chu Xian's gaze, two slightly transparent larvae emerged sequentially. The offspring of the thought nurturer and the blood steel wire was a translucent white larva, while that from the Qi seed and the blood steel wire was a sky blue larva. To Chu Xian's surprise, both larvae appeared normal and were quite lively. Immediately after birth, they devoured their eggshells completely. Their bellies were swollen, and they curiously surveyed their surroundings. Chu Xian collected them into his blood pouch and began feeding them with blood pearls while using an identification technique to examine their potential. After this examination, Chu Xian was even more astonished. Both larvae possessed the potential to reach the third transformation. This meant that given sufficient nourishment, they could smoothly advance to become third transformation goo, comparable to golden core great powers. Moreover, each larva exhibited traits from both of its parent strains, embodying a blend of characteristics that could prove exceptionally advantageous. Chu Xian's face lit up with satisfaction. Clearly, the good karma surrounding him had once again played its part, subtly influencing the outcome. Such blessings were invaluable, they could turn the tides of probability in his favor. However, the two larvae were not yet ready to provide combat support. They would need at least a month or two of nurturing to advance to the first transformation goo and become truly functional. The thought nurturer larva will enhance my mental strength, allowing me to control more magical tools simultaneously, Chu Xian mused. And the Qi seed larva is like a mini Qi, which will boost the total amount of my spiritual Qi. After a brief moment of joy, Chu Xian resumed his meditation, seated within the circle of his cultivation practice. In the blink of an eye, 2 months of blue star time had passed. With a thought, Chu Xian summoned 3 goo worms into his palm. The first was Gongxi, the second was Bai, and the third was Lan. If you discover this tale on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen. Please report the violation. Chu Xian, not particularly inclined to spend time naming them, simply chose names based on their colors. As for the listening insect that had resided in his ear, it had become somewhat redundant since Chu Xian's advancement to the foundation establishment stage. Chu Xian decided to grant it freedom and let it go. Once Bai and Lan had settled into his brain and Qi, respectively, Chu Xian could distinctly feel an increase in both his mental strength and spiritual Qi. He gestured with his hand, and the evil soul chain, like a black python, coiled around him. With another gesture, the myriad souls banner appeared. Previously, operating these 2 magical tools simultaneously would strain him, causing slight dizziness and pressure. But now, he was not yet at his limit, indicating he could activate a third magical tool. Chu Xian swiped over his storage bag, and the merit bell appeared, floating above his head and enveloping him in its presence. Intense golden light surged out, seemingly capable of expelling all evil and malevolent forces. The golden light was so dense it almost formed a tangible golden bell, impervious to all attacks. A smile of pleasure spread across Chu Xian's face. Operating 3 magical tools at once was a significant enhancement from before. Many mid-foundation establishment cultivators struggled to use 3 magical tools simultaneously. Yet, thanks to the goo, Chu Xian had once again surpassed many of his peers within the same cultivation level. At the water curtain cave, Chu Xian habitually returned to his abode to check the messages. Currently, tensions were rising between the Heavenly Seal sect cultivators and the native sects of Wu province. Chu Xian had previously instructed Chen Ge to keep him informed with regular updates. Moreover, the 3 senior brothers from the extreme Yin cave might also leave messages, making it prudent to frequently check for any updates. Upon activating the message recording array of the cave, the first voice Chu Xian heard was indeed from Chen Ge. Uncle Master Chu, the first group of cultivators suffered heavy losses. Even 2 foundation establishment stage cultivators have perished, with even more casualties among the Qi refining stage cultivators. Uncle Master Chu, we at the Extreme Yin Cave have started to establish a second mortal city and have recruited several spiritual seedlings, all under the guidance of Uncle Master Wu Ting. Uncle Master Chu, Extreme Yin Cave has gained a new foundation establishment stage cultivator, an external wandering cultivator who joined voluntarily. Uncle Master Chu, the second group of cultivators sent by the main hall of Heavenly Seal sect has arrived. Uncle Master Chu. Chu Xian listened patiently to all of Chen Ji's messages. This Ji refining stage disciple was meticulous in his duties, covering every detail. Through his descriptions, Chu Xian gained a comprehensive understanding of the conflict between the Heavenly Seal sect and the native Wu province sects. The first batch of Heavenly Seal sect cultivators sent to Wu province were mostly those ostracized within their own ranks, lacking strong backgrounds, and therefore not very powerful. The native Wu province sects, contrary to what many believed, were not so weak. They had organized numerous counterattacks, one of which had nearly reached Extreme Cave's territory. Suddenly, Chu Xian heard a new voice, which surprised him. Junior brother Chu. The second batch of cultivators from the main hall has arrived, including 2 disciples of Senior Zhao Wuya. If you're available, come to my cave, and I'll introduce you to them. Chu Xian raised an eyebrow. Zhao Wuya was the Golden Core stage cultivator who facilitated Extreme Cave's incorporation into the Heavenly Seal sect. He was known for his dislike of the Divine Star sect's practices. Wan Wuying and Zhao Wuya appeared to be old acquaintances, and clearly, Zhao Wuya's disciples were considered allies by Lu Zhenxiong. However, these 2 cultivators being part of the second batch sent to Wu province suggested that Zhao Wuya's faction might be under pressure from other factions. In that case, it would indeed be good to meet them, Chu Xian thought. Even if not as friends, at least I might trade some items with them. Pondering this, Chu Xian mounted his flying sword and left the water curtain cave, heading for Lu Zhenxiong's abode located on the north side of Extreme Cave. Circling a few times, Chu Xian found the cave, his first visit there. Upon arriving, he used a transmission jade to contact Lu Zhenxiong. Surprisingly, the mist quickly dissipated, revealing a pathway. Lu Zhenxiong and another cultivator came out to greet him. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Junior brother, we were just talking about you. What a coincidence that you should arrive now. Lu Zhenxiong greeted him with a broad smile. Chapter 74, Extreme Cave being drawn into the fight? Plus, turn off reset. Chu Xian responded with a smile as Lu Zhenxiong warmly introduced, Junior brother, this is Xianxia, a distinguished disciple of Senior Zhao Wuya. He is an expert in beast taming, with several Foundation establishment stage spirit beasts under his care. Xianxia chuckled modestly, you flatter me, I merely have an interest in nurturing demonic beasts. He turned to Chu Xian, so, you are Chu Xian? A pleasure to meet you. I've heard from Lu about your accomplishments, advancing to Foundation establishment in your 20s, truly a prodigy. Chu Xian responded with a humble smile, Senior brother overstates it, it's mostly good fortune. Xianxia smiled, our master knows each other well, we should assist each other more. The trio entered Lu Zhenxiong's cave and settled down. The conversation was mostly between Lu Zhenxiong and Xianxia, with Chu Xian chipping in intermittently. After a while, Xianxia mentioned, my junior brother will be joining us soon. Lu Zhenxiong's face lit up with excitement, you mean Luin? I've wanted to meet him for a while but never had the chance. What brings him here this time? Xianxia sighed, junior brother Lu has a rather peculiar and obstinate personality. It took quite some persuasion to convince him to come. Please forgive any unintentional offenses he may commit in conversation. Lu Zhenxiong and Chu Xian both nodded understandingly. Eccentricities were common among cultivators, especially those deeply engrossed in their studies, often undergoing personality shifts after prolonged seclusions. Soon, a voice called from outside, I have arrived. Lu Zhenxiong, accompanied by the other 2, went out to greet the newcomer. Chu Xian observed him, thin, with deep-set eyes and a withered face. With great enthusiasm, Lu Zhenxiong greeted, Luin, I am Lu Zhenxiong of Extreme Cave, delighted to meet you. Luin surveyed him briefly and merely nodded, then turned to Xianxia, senior brother, I'm here, let's go inside. Xianxia gave an awkward smile, okay, let's go. The 4 all sat down, Lu Zhenxiong quietly asked, fellow Daoist Lu, do you have any second transformation goo for sale? Lu Ying gave him a sideways glance. Fellow Daoist Lu, second transformation goo require a flesh and blood organ to house. If you don't have such an organ, it's best not to purchase them. Lu Zhenxiong chuckled, even if I don't have the organ yet, there's no harm in asking the price. Lu Ying stated calmly, the lowest price is 1,200 small spiritual stones. Lu Zhenxiong's smile froze, the price was exorbitant. Chu Xian observed Lu Ying more closely. Although his appearance was not familiar, the tone of his voice gave him away. He guessed the man's identity. It was indeed the spirit insect Taoist he had met that day in the tea house at the nameless market. Their demeanor was too similar, both equally discomforting. Xing Chongqing spoke in a grave tone, Junior brother Lu, fellow Daoist Lu's master is the venerable Wan Wuying, a long-standing acquaintance of our own master. We will surely need to support one another in the future. Could you not lower the price somewhat? This tale has been pilfered from Royal Road. If found on Amazon, kindly file a report. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Ying, showing a trace of impatience, nevertheless nodded, then let it be 1,000 spirit stones. I can go no lower. The negotiations between Lu Zhenxiong and Lu Ying, however, never reached a consensus. Eventually, Lu Ying, tired of the conversation, took his leave prematurely. Xing Chongqing offered his apologies to Lu Zhenxiong and followed suit. After their departure, Lu Zhenxiong furrowed his brows and sighed deeply. Senior brother, is this Lu Ying truly formidable? Chu Xian inquired. Lu Zhenxiong replied somberly, I've made inquiries. Within the hidden circles of the Heavenly Seal sect who cultivate goo, Foundation establishment stage cultivators are few, and Lu Ying is acknowledged as the most adept among them. His cultivated goo are both powerful and tractable, Lu continued. Pity we could not reach an agreement. Lu Zhenxiong sighed lightly, our lineage of extreme Ying cave has lost much of its heritage in goo cultivation, with only the bloodworm's tome remaining. To strengthen ourselves, we are forced to rely on others. The art of goo cultivation is best approached through someone like Lu Ying, but who knew he would be of such a disposition and offer us no discounts, he added. Chu Xian listened thoughtfully. Enhancing strength? Could it be that extreme Ying cave was also to be drawn into the fray? This was hardly good news. The ongoing war between the Heavenly Seal sect and the native Wu province sects was at a critical juncture. The cultivators committing to the war at this stage, unless they were experts in the later stages of Foundation establishment, had no assured chance of survival. It was akin to a meat grinder, obliterating every living being caught within it. As expected, Lu Zhenxiong revealed more details upon further questioning. Senior Zhao Wuya, in concert with our master and Senior Huang Yuanwu of the Heavenly Seal sect, penetrated the secret realm of Purple Miasma Mountain in Wu province and seized a precious treasure there. The native sect's recent offensive has become fiercely intense, connected to the loss of this treasure. Hence, the main hall of the Heavenly Seal sect has decreed that our lineage of extreme Ying cave must also enter the war. Lu Zhenxiong gave a bitter smile. A chill ran through Chu Xian's heart. Currently at only the 4th level of Foundation establishment, though he possessed more aces and could outmatch those at the 5th level, facing an expert at the late stages of Foundation establishment could still lead to a disastrous defeat or even death. Once Extreme Ying Cave committed to the war, his likelihood of dying would significantly increase. If it comes to it, I will retreat to the Blue Star, Chu Xian resolved inwardly. Once I advance the blood evil demon refining scripture to the 7th layer and reach the later stages of Foundation establishment, returning here will not be too late. His greatest trump card was his ability to traverse between worlds using the blood mirror. If survival here became untenable, the Blue Star would be his refuge. Junior brother, that is the state of affairs, Lu Zhenxiong explained earnestly. That's why I am exerting every effort to augment my strength. Senior brother Li and Senior brother Wu are also tirelessly working on their own enhancements. Lu Zhenxiong then turned to Chu Xian, you too should devote more attention to strengthening yourself. Chu Xian nodded in agreement. Suddenly, Lu Zhenxiong seemed to recall something important and quickly added, you might try your luck at the nameless market. Recently, a mysterious figure has appeared, selling a considerable quantity of large blood pearls. Chu Xian felt an inward amusement. The mysterious person? Was that not himself? However, he maintained his composure and nodded seriously. By the way, the master has recently accepted a new disciple from a cultivator family in the northern part of Wu province, previously under the domain of Imperial Spirit Mountain, Lu Zhenxiong continued. His family, the Chen family, was implicated in a scandal and eradicated by Imperial Spirit Mountain. He managed to escape and made his way here, taking refuge in our extreme cave. His name is Jin Zhaofeng, and his talents are commendable, on par with senior brother Li. Lu Zhenxiong added, his dwelling is situated to the southeast of my cave, nestled within a valley. When you have time, you should meet him. We will soon be joining the war, and having an additional ally can only be advantageous. Chu Xian nodded, thank you for the reminder, senior brother. Indeed, it would be prudent to meet other Foundation establishment stage cultivators of Extreme Cave. However, since he planned to avoid this meat grinder of war, there seemed little need to engage deeply with Chen Zhaofeng. After leaving Lu Zhenxiong's abode, Chu Xian headed towards Chen Zhaofeng's dwelling. Finding no one at home, Chu Xian left a message indicating his visit and intention to meet, without elaborating further. Chapter 75, So many called to war, how many will return plus, turn off reset. At the Water Curtain Cave, another month slipped by. Equivalent to 10 months on the Blue Star. Chu Xian spent the majority of this time entrenched in the soul-capturing evil-nurturing array situated in Two Dragons City, honing his skills. Whenever the spiritual plants ripened or it was time to harvest large blood pearls, he would depart from this world to the nameless market to exchange these goods for the resources he required. Each visit to the market saw him donning a different guise. Having mastered the art of disguise, he had used 3 different identities thus far. Even when brushing past Song Feng, Lu Yin, or the Han-named cultivator, they remained oblivious that Chu Xian was the same Foundation establishment stage cultivator with whom they had previously traded. With each visit, Chu Xian could feel the war intensifying. Stalls manned by Qi refining stage cultivators frequently changed hands, sometimes within a matter of days. The self-important Song Feng had fallen in battle, a testament to the merciless nature of this meat grinder-like conflict that swallowed lives without causing so much as a ripple. The time for Extreme Cave to engage in the war had arrived. A new message awaited Chu Xian at the sound recording formation of the Water Curtain Cave, left by Li Xianming, the senior brother of Extreme Cave. Junior brother Chu Xian, the master commands us to assemble at the training ground. Chu Xian had long anticipated this day. He gathered his belongings and set off for the Extreme Cave training ground. Upon his arrival, he found that the other Foundation establishment stage cultivators of Extreme Cave had already gathered. Leading them was Li Xianming, clad in flowing white robes, exuding a martial grandeur. Alongside him stood Lu Zhenxiong, Wu Teng, and others, including a somewhat unfamiliar figure. This individual was deeply engaged in conversation with Li Xianming and seemed to be Chen Zhaofeng, the recently inducted disciple of Extreme Cave. Junior brother. Li Xianming, catching sight of Chu Xian, nodded slightly without further comment. His cultivation had now reached the mid-stage of Foundation establishment, marking him as a prodigy even within the vast ranks of the Heavenly Seal sect. See the novel, Fire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In contrast, Chu Xian seemed rather unremarkable. It appeared his talents were not as formidable as Li Xianming had once thought, and any previous wariness he might have had towards Chu Xian gradually dissipated. Chu Xian responded with a light nod and a smile. Li Xianming's lack of wariness towards him was indeed a favorable turn of events. Previously, he had harbored concerns that the senior brother of Extreme Cave might harbor jealousy, potentially forcing Chu Xian into a dire confrontation. Wu Teng, much like Li Xianming, merely exchanged greetings with Chu Xian, offering no further conversation, instead continuing his discussion with Chen Zhaofeng. In contrast, Lu Zhenxiong approached Chu Xian warmly to discuss recent happenings. Although Chu Xian had been vigilantly observing external changes and committing them to memory, he patiently listened to Lu Zhenxiong's account. It was clear that this senior brother truly regarded him as both a junior brother and a friend. After a short while, Lu Zhenxiong surreptitiously handed Chu Xian an object. Glancing down, Chu Xian saw it was a talisman crafted from human skin. Unlike orthodox talismans drawn with cinnabar, this one was marked with twisted, bizarre lines that at first glance seemed nonsensical. Yet upon closer inspection, these lines seemed to coalesce into a terrifying pattern. Enjoying this book? Seek out the original to ensure the author gets credit. A demonic talisman, containing a Foundation establishment stage tiger spirit, Lu Zhenxiong whispered. It might save your life in a critical moment. Chu Xian's interest was piqued. Where did this come from, senior brother Lu? Clearly, the talisman was of demonic origin. The orthodox arts consisted of array, alchemy, tool refinement, and talisman crafting. Some demonic cultivators exceptionally gifted had adapted orthodox talisman crafting techniques into demonic methods. Demonic talisman crafting involved sealing a living soul within human skin, suppressed by demonic runes, thus eternally binding the soul within the talisman for the user's command. This tiger soul talisman could summon a tiger spirit to combat foes. This tiger spirit was a Foundation establishment stage demonic beast, and now possessed even greater malevolence and strength, at least equivalent to a high-grade magical tool. The potency of a demonic talisman lay in its autonomy, serving as an alternative form of beast control. During subsequent trades with Song Feng, he revealed a wolf soul talisman. However, Song Feng's high price had led to their parting on less than amicable terms. Thank you, senior brother Lu. Chu Xian accepted the talisman without any pretense. At that moment, a dark shadow suddenly appeared within the training ground. All eyes turned to see it was Wan Wuing, the patriarch of Extreme Cave. Master. Chu Xian, Li Xianming, and the others immediately bowed, addressing him respectfully. Wan Wuing nodded slightly. Perhaps because he had seized a significant treasure from the native Wu province sects, his complexion appeared particularly robust. I have agreed with the Heavenly Seal sect. The Extreme Cave will soon be entering the war, he declared. As my direct disciples, I cannot attend to each of you personally, so I will grant each of you a high-grade magic tool and a bottle of demonic pills. With a sweep of his storage bag, Wan Wuing released several high-grade magic tools, allowing his disciples to choose among them. The array of options he provided was plentiful. After some consideration, Chu Xian selected the Mystic Iron Shield as his defensive magical tool. His previous shield, the Goldenwood Shield, had been severely damaged during an attack by Huikong, showing numerous cracks that significantly reduced its defensive capabilities. Lacking the skills to repair it and unwilling to pay a hefty price for a craftsman's services, Chu Xian had already planned to acquire a new high-grade defensive magical tool. Wan Wuing's offer was timely and aligned perfectly with his needs. As for the demonic pills, known as Fury Chi pills, they were designed to temporarily extract one's latent potential, unleashing a burst of spiritual chi. Crafted personally by Wan Wuing, these were meant as a last resort for preserving life. Chu Xian also took a bottle. Though he might not need to use them, it was essential to have them. When Chu Xian received the Fury Spirit pills from Wan Wuing, the old master looked at him with a complex expression. Wan Wuing remembered how Chu Xian had played a crucial role in rescuing him from captivity at Misty Manor and had been initially surprised by his aptitude. For a time, he even considered imparting all his knowledge to him. However, after several teachings, he did not observe any extraordinary capabilities in Chu Xian. His insight seemed only on par with Wu Teng, perhaps even less than Lu Zhenxiong, which had somewhat disheartened him. Later, Wan Wuing took in Chen Zhaofeng, whose talents appeared to rival those of Li Xianming. Consequently, his attention shifted primarily to Chen Zhaofeng, and he gradually overlooked Chu Xian. Wan Wuing then asked, Chu Xian, what is your current cultivation level? Bowing respectfully, Chu Xian responded, to report to Master, I remain at the second level of Foundation establishment. He had always been cautious about revealing his true strength. Within the Heavenly Seal sect, there were many factions dissatisfied with the extreme cave lineage. Displaying too much power would only draw constant scrutiny and immense pressure from all sides. Wan Wuying sighed softly, "Alright, go now." So much time had passed, yet Chu Xian was still at the second level of the Foundation establishment. Was his previous rapid advancement merely a stroke of luck? Li Xianming and Chen Zhaofeng showed no particular reaction, their expressions indifferent. In the world of cultivation, many were like Chu Xian, briefly brilliant before fading away and meeting a tragic end in obscurity. "Go, I await your triumphant return," Wan Wuying said calmly, giving one last look at his 4 disciples. "Yes." Chu Xian and the others bowed and then turned to leave. "So many called to battle, how many will return?" Wan Wuying murmured with a soft sigh. Chapter 76, Entering Wu Province, Reaching Ironwire Mountain Plus, Turn Off Reset. Chu Xian and his 4 companions, maneuvering their flying magic tools, departed from the territory of Extreme Cave and entered Wu Province, humid, sweltering, infested with venomous insects, specters, and possibly indigenous cultivators lurking in every shadowy corner. This was the real Wu Province, a land fraught with peril. Chu Xian's mind teemed with detailed information about Wu Province, which he had consciously gathered over time. Previously not part of the Yu Kingdom, Wu Province was the domain of barbarian tribes to the south of the kingdom. It was only a millennium ago that the Infinite Sect conquered the region, incorporating it into Yu Kingdom. The indigenous sects of Wu Province were established by these barbarians, practicing methods like gu cultivation, ghost nurturing, and corpse refining, all considered demonic arts. The Infinite Sect had adopted many of their techniques, which contributed to its rise as a formidable force of the demonic path within the Yu Kingdom. Aware of the indigenous sect's fearsome nature, the Infinite Sect knew too well the perils of underestimating them. Though these sects might lack a significant number of golden core cultivators, their intimate knowledge of Wu Province allowed them to effortlessly eliminate any invaders in the jungles, swamps, and valleys. After evaluating the gains and losses, the Infinite Sect decided against fully annexing Wu Province, instead treating it as a resource-rich backyard from which various materials could be harvested. Observing this, the local sects maintained a peaceful coexistence with the Infinite Sect. This equilibrium persisted until the fall of the Infinite Sect, when Wu Province was handed over to the Heavenly Seal Sect by the Righteous 5 sects, and thus the war ignited. After advancing a distance, the 5 cultivators split up, each heading towards their designated targets as the full-scale war between the Heavenly Seal Sect and the indigenous sects of Wu Province erupted. To the east of Extreme Cave, over 10,000 li, lay the front line. Naturally, the 5 Foundation establishment stage cultivators could not all be deployed in one location. The current battlefront required fresh forces at every turn, particularly fierce at the locations of the Thousand Insects Sect, Blood Fury Sect, and Bone Refining Manor, 3 of the indigenous factions. The specific mission received by Extreme Cave was to conquer the Thousand Insects Sect. This sect was one of the 12 most powerful in Wu Province, commanding nearly 30 smaller factions. The first and second waves of cultivators from the Heavenly Seal Sect had been entangled with the Thousand Insects Sect and its subordinate factions. Their primary method of attack involved the use of goo, poisoning and assassination were just some of the myriad tactics they employed. Li Xianming and the others each had their tasks, though not directly assaulting the Thousand Insects Sect itself but targeting its affiliated smaller factions. After all, the Thousand Insects Sect was also guarded by Golden Core ancestors. Though they numbered only 2, significantly fewer than those at Heavenly Seal Sect, a Golden Core ancestor was still a force to be reckoned with. Without direct engagement from both sides, there was little room for Foundation establishment stage cultivators to make an impact. First, I'll assess the situation. If the conflict is too intense, I'll simply retreat to the Blue Star. There's no need to take unnecessary risks here. Chu Xian had long decided on his strategy. Fight if he could win, flee if he could not. After all, with the blood mirror at his disposal, he could freely travel between the 2 realms. You could be reading stolen content. Head to the original site for the genuine story. A day later, Chu Xian arrived at the outskirts of Ironwire Mountain. Among the affiliated sects of the Thousand Insects sect, Ironwire Mountain was one of the larger ones. It was guarded by only 6 Foundation establishment stage cultivators, with no golden core powerhouses. Recently, a mysterious mist had enveloped Ironwire Mountain, trapping 3 early-stage Foundation establishment cultivators from the Heavenly Seal sect within it, including a direct descendant of a golden core powerhouse from the sect. Chu Xian accepted the mission to rescue the trapped cultivators. He had not yet reached his destination when he saw thick fog swirling around Ironwire Mountain, with sporadic flashes of magical light visible within it. The reports didn't mention the fog being this dense, Chu Xian muttered, frowning. He had only taken a few steps when he came upon several dead Qi refining stage cultivators, their bodies strewn across the ground. Numerous civilians who were unable to escape had also perished in the aftermath of the battle. Suddenly, a figure shot out from the mist towards Chu Xian. He swiftly dodged aside. Upon closer inspection, he saw it was a Heavenly Seal sect Qi refining stage cultivator, his chest caved in and his right leg severed at the thigh. Several dark, ironwire-like worms were writhing and feasting on his body. Before Chu Xian could even speak, the cultivator breathed his last in a tragic death. Chu Xian's frown deepened. Those worms were the infamous Ironwire worms, Ironwire Mountain's signature goo. Are you the reinforcement? Follow me. Into the fog. A shout came from behind him. Chu Xian looked back and spotted 2 Foundation establishment stage cultivators, both clad in the Heavenly Seal sect's Foundation robes, though he did not recognize either of them. Chu Xian narrowed his eyes and did not rashly approach. It was possible that the 2 cultivators were imposters. Show me your identities, he shouted to the 2 cultivators. Upon hearing this, the cultivators immediately took out 2 tokens from the Heavenly Seal sect and activated them. The tokens emitted a faint glow. Seeing this, Chu Xian nodded silently. 2's company, that's reassuring, Chu Xian thought, not hesitating to join them. He had no desire to venture into Ironwire Mountain alone, especially given the menacing fog. Who knew what horrors lay within it? More companions meant more security. After joining up, the 3 exchanged names. Chu Xian quickly learned their identities. The burly cultivator was named Zhao Luan, and the tall, thin one was Zhou Yu, both from the second wave of reinforcements. Though they did not explicitly state their cultivation levels, Chu Xian could sense that both were likely at the early stages of the Foundation establishment. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. No sooner had the trio set off towards Ironwire Mountain than they saw a figure, blood-soaked and fleeing in panic. Run! Run! The man's eyes were wide with terror. Even upon seeing Chu Xian and the others, he didn't stop to explain, his pace unrelenting. Chu Xian gave the man a quick glance and sensed several ironwire worms rampaging through his viscera. Even if he escaped the immediate danger, his death was certain. Chu Xian's brow furrowed. Was Ironwire Mountain truly this horrifying? Zhao Luan scoffed, I know that man, a mere rogue cultivator who barely managed to reach the Foundation establishment stage. Don't mind him, let's keep moving. Rescuing those 3 trapped Foundation establishment stage cultivators will net us 300 sect contribution points, a too good opportunity to miss. Just follow me, he assured them. Zhou Yu whispered, Brother Zhao is at the 3rd level of Foundation establishment, almost stepping into the 4th. Chu, do not worry. With him leading, we shall be safe. Chu Xian nodded. But in the next moment, Zhao Luan began to mutter, it's so itchy, why is it so itchy? He frantically scratched his back. Turning to look, Chu Xian was shocked to see 2 ironwire worms burrowing fiercely into Zhao Luan's back. Do you guys feel itchy too? Zhao Luan turned to Chu Xian and Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu suddenly realized that 2 strange white worms were emerging from Zhao Luan's eyes, but he was oblivious. Zhou Yu's mouth hung open in shock. Chu Xian growled, retreat. There's a powerful goo master nearby. He admitted to himself that he lacked such a stealthy method of goo placement. Unnoticed, Zhao Luan had been afflicted with goo. Zhou Yu swallowed hard and immediately started to run. Hey, where are you guys? Why can't I see you? Zhao Luan's vision had been devoured by the goo worms without his awareness. He didn't realize that Chu Xian and Zhou Yu had already turned to flee. It's itchy, so itchy. Zhao Luan felt the itchiness transform into pain. Driven mad, he scratched fiercely with his nails, tearing his skin until blood flowed freely. With a heavy thud, he fell from midair, crashing into a mix of blood and mud. The goo worms swarmed over him, engulfing him completely. Chapter 77, The Only Hope Lies in the Immortal Plus, Turn Off Reset. Elsewhere, Chu Xian and Zhou Yu were nearing the exit of the mist. Suddenly, a cold snort echoed behind them. Humph, thinking of escaping? Leave your life behind. A foul wind, reeking of blood, struck without warning. Zhou Yu, unable to react in time, was violently hit in the back and sent flying, his fate unknown. Behind Chu Xian, a crimson blood shadow abruptly appeared, shielding him from this vicious strike. It was the blood evil shadow. Chu Xian grunted, using the rebounding force to break free from the mist and flee for his life. The Ironwire mountain is perilous, beyond my current abilities, he thought. Time to lay low on the blue star for a while. Gazing at the ever-turning mist, Chu Xian shook his head and swiftly retreated. On the blue star, Chu Xian once again sat cross-legged within a grand formation, at the eye of a storm. Evil chi within the formation converged towards him. Not enough, still not enough, he murmured. Even with such an immense amount of evil chi to sustain me, it requires painstaking efforts to advance further. The root causes my own mediocre aptitude. Chu Xian could not help but shake his head, knowing well his own limitations. Spiritual roots are classified from inferior, to common, superior, and ultimate. Above the ultimate spiritual roots are the rare earth and heavenly roots, seldom seen talents. In the entire realm of Yu Kingdom, Chu Xian had only heard of an ultimate fire spiritual root that appeared 400 years ago. This prodigy was meant to be taken in by the Divine Star sect, but the heaven-burning sect of the southern Yu Kingdom intercepted and seized the child. This incident had been the root of the long-standing enmity between the Divine Star sect and the heaven-burning sect. Chu Xian's own spiritual root was merely a common wood-aligned root, suited for cultivating wood element techniques. His astonishing cultivation speed was only due to the significant difference in the flow of time between the mystic azure realm and blue star. While others thought he had trained for merely a month, he had actually undergone 10 months of rigorous cultivation. A thought suddenly occurred to Chu Xian. Besides spiritual roots, cultivators also possess spiritual bodies, he pondered. Both spiritual roots and bodies are innate, but they can be compensated for through acquired means. However, to remedy a spiritual root, one must at least reach the golden core stage. For me, cultivating an acquired spiritual body is the best approach. Some demonic techniques allow one to extract other spiritual bodies and graft them onto oneself. Alternatively, through certain inhumane methods, like the blood sacrifice of numerous beings, one can create an acquired spiritual body. Chu Xian contemplated this possibility. It was indeed a viable method. There existed methods to recreate acquired spiritual bodies in the blood evil demon refining scripture, but the requirements were exceedingly stringent. Chu Xian had previously dismissed the idea, but now, in his quest to hasten his cultivation, he resolved to prioritize this endeavor. The author's content has been appropriated. Report any instances of this story on Amazon. The Blood Evil Demon Refining Scripture details 3 methods to forge acquired spiritual bodies, he mused. The first is the ice-drinking spiritual body. One must consume ice-attribute spiritual materials daily and ideally cultivate in an extremely cold environment. After 3 months, the ice-drinking body can reach a minor state of completion, where one's every move is accompanied by the essence of frost. The second is the crimson blood spiritual body. This requires soaking in the blood of Foundation Establishment stage demonic beasts for 49 days, changing the blood daily. Once minor completion is achieved, one's blood circulation speeds up, greatly enhancing the power of physical close combat techniques. The third is the Evilwood spiritual body. This involves consuming wood attribute spiritual materials every 3 days, 33 times in total. Once minor completion is achieved, wounds heal much faster, physical defense is enhanced, and one gains the unique ability to manipulate trees. Chu Xian pondered these options and dismissed the ice-drinking spiritual body and crimson blood spiritual body. The ice-drinking spiritual body, though potent, did not align with his attributes, and extremely cold materials were hard to come by. The crimson blood spiritual body was even less feasible. Where could he possibly find the blood of 49 different Foundation establishment stage demonic beasts? The evilwood spiritual body, however, was well suited to his attributes and not as challenging to undertake. The only question was whether this zombie planet possessed any wood attribute spiritual materials. Seems I need to spend some time searching, he concluded. With that, Chu Xian rose and, mounting his flying sword, vanished without a trace. On the outskirts of East Lake City, 3 strange mushroomen collapsed, facing the sky. After a few convulsions, they lay still. Wang Gangjian and Tang Jinchuan panted heavily, their tense muscles slowly relaxing. Wang Gangjian glanced at the gaunt Tang Jinchuan and chuckled wryly. Tang, it seems your body fat isn't serving you well. Tang Jinchuan, still frightened, replied, those mushroomen were too resilient, I threw several spears, and they didn't die. This body fat isn't good for forming many long spears. Wang Gangjian waved his hand. The survivors who had been waiting nearby rushed forward, dousing the 3 mushroomen in gasoline and setting them alight. Flames roared high, and the corpses sizzled, emitting faint screams as if in agony. SEA the novel, ire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Wang Gangjian and Tang Jinchuan stood in silence, gazing at the charred remains. Not long ago, these had been 3 young men from the Black Blade Security Company, reliable and loyal. In just one day, they had been transformed into horrific mushroomen. Now, all that Wang Gangjian, Tang Jinchuan, and the other superhumans could do was to burn their bodies, ensuring the dreadful mushroomization wouldn't spread to others. Another figure then arrived by car. It was Wang Gangjian's cousin, Wang Yong. Wang Gangjian's face lit up momentarily as he asked in a low voice, did you get through? Wang Yong shook his head, his voice even lower, no contact, and I've received some bad news. Wang Gangjian's expression darkened, go ahead. Some folks from the ship gang told me this, Wang Yong whispered. Dragon River City has completely succumbed to mushroomization. Yinantian has vanished, and of the 4 leaders, only Xianxia survived. The Linjiang army has completely disintegrated. Wang Gangjian's face turned ashen. He could not have imagined that within just over a month of the mushrooms appearing, the situation would deteriorate to such an extent. Even Dragon River City, the stronghold of the Linjiang army, had turned into a city of mushrooms. General Yinantian, a powerful level 4 superhuman, was nowhere to be found. Wang Gangjian tried to speak but found himself reeling. Wang Yong and Tang Jinchuan quickly steadied him. Wang Yong spoke solemnly, brother, we could seek refuge with the ship gang. I've heard they temporarily repelled a group of mushroomen and might have a way to fight them. Wang Gangjian managed a bitter smile. The ship gang had always been at odds with the Linjiang army. As a former soldier of the Linjiang army, and with Black Blade heavily influenced by the same, how could they switch allegiance to the ship gang now? Boss, I suggest we try to find that Immortal again today, Tang Jinchuan said earnestly. The Linjiang army is no longer a viable option. Our only hope now lies with that Immortal. If he won't help us the first or second time, we'll ask a third or a fourth time. Where there's a will, there's a way. We'll give the Immortal whatever he wants. Wang Gangjian sighed deeply, I just fear, the Immortal might not be interested in what we have to offer. Let's try both, the ship gang and the Immortal, he decided. Yong, you go to the ship gang. Tang, let's head to the Hanhai hotel together. We must persuade the Immortal to help us. High in the sky, Chu Xian flew recklessly aboard his flying sword. Some birds, overly bold, attempted to prey upon him but were easily slain by his hand. Gazing down at the desolate cities below, Chu Xian's eyes sparked with curiosity. Interesting, a mushroom city? His vision captured a city to the east of East Lake City, completely overrun by mushrooms. The ground, walls, corpses, and even telephone poles were festooned with various fungi, red, green, yellow, white. They were everywhere. A gentle breeze stirred, causing the mushrooms to dance lightly, dispersing their spores which drifted toward East Lake City on the wind. Sensing Chu Xian, a living being, the spores seemed to veer towards him. With a flick of his wrist, Chu Xian launched a ball of fire. The flames erupted, instantly turning the spores to ashes. Without touching the ground, Chu Xian stood on his flying sword, surveying the city. Everywhere he looked, mushrooms dominated the landscape. At first glance, the scene appeared vibrantly alive. Yet, a closer sense revealed a profound silence, as if all life had been devoured. It seems a number of interesting beings have emerged during my seclusion, Chu Xian mused, more intrigued than alarmed. He never considered these creatures a threat. To him, as long as one was sufficiently powerful, all beings were mere insects to be crushed at will. The only distinction lay in their utility, some were useless, while others could be of great value. Scanning the city, Chu Xian saw no signs of other life forms. He continued his flight towards the east. Soon, he crossed the borders of Linjiang province, reaching the boundary of Hanhai province. Hanhai province, he noted. There are even more mushroom cities here. If I recall, the dominant force in this area is Ship Gang. Chu Xian looked down at the mushrooms spreading across the land like a malignant growth, deep in thought. Hanhai province, Yuhai city. This city was the capital of Hanhai province and the core territory of the Ship Gang. It should have been the safest place. However, it was now overrun by mushrooms. Gunfire echoed through the streets and alleys as mushroomen fell, only for more to rise in their place. Those survivors who were slightly contaminated or had inhaled mushroom spores underwent drastic transformations within an hour, and without prompt medical intervention, they too would join the ranks of the mushroomen. These terrifying mushrooms were thus able to sweep through areas unchecked. Die, bellowed the old captain, his muscles bulging alarmingly, his arms now thicker than his thighs. He swung a massive, heavy ship anchor, smashing a mushroom person into a pulp. He was a powerful level 4 enhanced superhuman, specialized like most in his class, with arms that could expand to 4 times their normal size, allowing him to swing weights far beyond normal limits. Taken from Royal Road, this narrative should be reported if found on Amazon. Old Lu. Another wave of mushroomen is coming, stop them, the old captain roared. However, there was no response from that direction. With a fierce stomp, the old captain crushed the head of a mushroom person underfoot and moved to higher ground for a better view. To his horror, he saw that a superhuman squad in that area had been overwhelmed. His familiar comrade, Old Lu, had mushrooms growing on his left side. Sanity and madness flickered across his face as if two people were struggling in a tug-of-war. Barely holding on to his sanity, Old Lu drew a short knife from his belt and stabbed it into his own arm. The intense pain momentarily gave him the upper hand over the madness. "Captain, kill me," he pleaded. But in the next instant, he lunged ferociously at the old captain. The mushroomization had enhanced his physical strength. Within 3 seconds, he was upon the old captain, his mouth filled with mushrooms opening wide to spray spores. See the novel, Fire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Rest in peace. Old Captain's face filled with sorrow, swung the anchor hard. With a sickening crunch, Old Lu's head was smashed into the concrete, mixing red blood and white brain matter. His body twitched momentarily before finally going still. In the distance, intense gunfire continued. Soon, a squad fighting a retreating battle joined the old captain. The leader of the squad was a robust man named Feng Biao. Like the old captain, he had been a fisherman in the East Sea before the zombie outbreak and had fortunately awakened his talents to become a superhuman. "How about the north area?" Old Captain inquired in a hurry. Feng Biao shook his head and spoke in a low voice, "It's fallen. Everyone else is dead except for us." Old Captain's face turned dark. Just a month earlier, sporadic mushrooms had begun appearing around Yuhai City, but no one was concerned. After all, the ship gang had previously repelled an attack by a group of mushroomen with ease. Those mushroomen had been fragile, a single level 1 superhuman could take on 2 or 3 of them, and a few survivors could kill them with bullets. People had thought all mushroomen were so weak, and they scoffed at the fall of the Linjiang army, mocking their defeat by such feeble creatures. This complacency had seeped into the ship gang's superhumans, loosening their vigilance. The old captain had ordered daily checks of water and food supplies to ensure they weren't contaminated by mushroom spores. However, his orders hadn't been fully implemented. A failure to fully comply with such measures meant total non-compliance due to the contagious nature of the spores. As a result, a flood-like spread of mushroomization engulfed the north, south, and west districts. Within days, these areas saw a surge of mushroomen, killing countless ordinary people under the ship gang's protection, transforming them into more of their kind. The only apparent escape for the ship gang seemed to be to board ships in the eastern district and flee to sea. But the old captain knew that this was tantamount to seeking death. The ocean was now even more terrifying than the land. Who knew how many sea creatures had mutated in the deep ocean, their enormous bodies possessing immense strength? A mere thrash from them could likely whip up massive waves capable of capsizing ships. Taking to the boats was a desperate last resort. But it seemed now that it was the only option left. The Linjiang army has already disintegrated, and Yinanchan's whereabouts are unknown. Who else can we count on? For the first time, a look of confusion appeared in the old captain's eyes as he glanced at the few remaining men beside him. Feng Biao, seeing the confusion in the eyes of this normally steadfast leader, sighed deeply. The ship gang, the largest force in Hanhai province, could it too disintegrate like the Linjiang army, each man fighting for himself? Let's go, withdraw to the eastern district, and get on the ships, old captain commanded gravely. We'll stay close to the coast and avoid the open sea. Yes, Feng Biao and the others nodded. Boarding the ships was a last resort, perhaps even a case of drinking poison to quench thirst. But dying later rather than sooner still made a difference. By preserving their lives now, there might still be a chance for a resurgence in the future. However, as they broke through the encirclement of mushroomen and reached the eastern district, they found the squad left to guard the area standing still, their eyes vacant and bodies occasionally twitching. Their bodies were already sprouting various colorful mushrooms. Among these people stood a yellow figure with a strange, umbrella-like cap. It didn't resemble a mushrooman but rather appeared to be a humanoid formed from mushrooms. My name? Stinkhorn, pleased to meet you. The yellow figure lifted its head and surprisingly spoke to the old captain and the others. The faces of them went pale. Search *the at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Did I hear that right? Did it just speak our language? A commoner cried out in horror, and the others were similarly terrified. Though the speech was halting, it was unmistakably human language. Several years had passed since the zombie outbreak, and they had seen all manner of strange creatures, but never a supernatural being that could talk. Flesh is frail. Join me, become mushrooms, Stinkhorn laughed heartily. Suddenly, the mushrooms all over its body erupted, spewing out a massive cloud of yellow spores, seeming to engulf the old captain and the others in the next instant. Just then, a bird covered in mushrooms flew through the crowd to Stinkhorn's side. The bird's voice was hoarse and grating. Retreat, hurry. The Immortal is coming for you. Stinkhorn paused, confused. The Immortal? Impossible, isn't he always in East Lake City? I was about to assimilate them. Can't, retreat. The mushroom bird spoke again. This is an order from Inkcap. Stinkhorn frowned. Big brother? All right. The cloud of yellow spores it had just released suddenly withdrew, and sucked back into Stinkhorn's body. Stinkhorn looked at them deeply, wanting to leave but hesitating, as if undecided. The old captain and Feng Biao prepared to defend themselves, but seeing this, they were momentarily stunned. What's happening? Neither fighting nor fleeing, what does this mean? Humph, consider yourselves lucky, Stinkhorn snorted coldly and turned to leave. However, just as it turned, a black chain like a giant python descended from the sky. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped Stinkhorn completely, binding it tightly like a rope. Stinkhorn was stunned, instantly filled with shock and rage. Immortal! The Immortal's coming! The mushroom bird cried out, flapping its wings frantically, attempting to escape. You could be reading stolen content. Head to Royal Road for the genuine story. Whoosh! A fierce gust of wind blew, causing the old captain, Feng Biao, and the others to shield their eyes. When they looked again, Stinkhorn was nowhere to be seen. The mushroom bird had been split in two, its flesh and mushrooms mixed into a gruesome paste, lifeless on the ground. Feng Biao looked around in astonishment. Where did the yellow mushroom go? The survivors exchanged puzzled looks. Where had it gone? The old captain mulled over the word repeatedly. Immortal? What were the mushroom bird and the mushroomman talking about? Suddenly, as if receiving a signal, the mushroomman began to retreat like the tide. The survivors, standing atop the ruins, looked up to the sky, crying tears of relief and joy. We survived. We made it. The ship gang stands strong. The old captain turned to Feng Biao and the others, speaking sternly, we must keep the matter of the yellow mushroomman to ourselves. The mere fact that a mushroomman could speak was horrifying enough. Their retreat was not a defeat but a strategic withdrawal, which was even more terrifying. It meant they would return sooner or later. However, this information must not reach the general populace as it could undermine their trust in the ship gang. Feng Biao nodded vigorously, glaring at his companions. If anyone leaks what happened today, I'll throw them into the sea. The survivors shivered and nodded vigorously, understanding the grave consequences of divulging such information. Hanhai Hotel. Chu Xian observed the yellow mushroomman before him with interest. He had been aware of the situation developing in the eastern district, where the old captain and Feng Biao had been encircled by this yellow mushroomman, but he had initially decided not to intervene. The lives and deaths of others were of no concern to him. However, from the moment the mushroomman began to speak, it piqued Chu Xian's interest. Even the demonic beasts of the Foundation establishment stage from the mystic Azure realm, which had only opened their spiritual intelligence, could not speak human language. They needed to condense an inner core within their bodies to be able to articulate human speech. Yet, this yellow mushroomman, clearly far less powerful than a Foundation establishment stage demonic beast, could speak. That was the real reason Chu Xian had intervened. You're called Stinkhorn? Chu Xian looked down at him with a slight smile. Stinkhorn eyed Chu Xian fearfully and nodded. Chu Xian chuckled, so, the immortal you speak of is me. How did you come to know about me? Stinkhorn remained silent. Chu Xian's smile took on a teasing edge. It seems you respond only to force, not kindness. He extended his hand, summoning the corpse refining blood fire from his chi to his palm. Buzz. The blood-red flames roared, filled with the wails of countless tormented souls. As Chu Xian brought the fire close, Stinkhorn's surface began to char and curl. Within moments, the scent of roasted mushrooms filled the air. Quite fragrant, Chu Xian remarked lightly. Ah! Stinkhorn screamed in agony. Fire was its greatest fear, and this immortal could manipulate flames. If you don't answer, you'll become just fuel, Chu Xian stated calmly. The corpse refining blood fire continued to burn, swiftly engulfing Stinkhorn's lower half. The aroma of roasted mushrooms grew even stronger, enticing even the zombie-like beings, Long, Hu, and Bao, who sniffed the air with evident desire. Roar, roar, roar. Bao pointed at Stinkhorn, grinning bashfully as if asking if he could have a bite. Chu Xian laughed heartily. Of course, once I've cooked him thoroughly, you can eat all you want. Roar, roar, roar. The trio of corpses held excitedly. Chu Xian's words completely shattered Stinkhorn's resistance. Terrified, it cried out, I'll talk, I'll talk. We have known about you for a long time. We purposely avoided East Lake City. You are strong, Big Brother said, not to provoke you. Chu Xian's interest deepened at this revelation. We? Big brother? There are more of you? Under his relentless questioning, Stinkhorn had no choice but to reveal everything. Big brother Ink Cap, second brother Panther Cap, third brother Green Cap, and me, Stinkhorn. Chu Xian repeated these names, chuckling. These were clearly the types of poisonous mushrooms. After absorbing psionic energy, they had become supernatural beings and adopted these names for themselves. Chapter 80, The Terrifying Power of the Immortal Plus, Turn Off Reset. Stinkhorn, gripped by fear, pleaded, "We have no intention of being enemies with the Immortal. Could you let me go back?" Chu Xian smiled faintly. "You expect me to release you after you've covertly released spores, sent signals, and attempted to infect me with your mushrooms?" Stinkhorn's expression changed drastically, and a fierce look flashed in its eyes. Seizing the moment when Chu Xian had retracted the corpse refining blood fire, it violently erupted with mushrooms from all over its body. In an instant, a thick cloud of yellow gas enveloped Chu Xian, densely packed with spores. If these spores were inhaled, they would cling inside like relentless maggots, making them impossible to expel. They would settle within Chu Xian's organs, mushrooming him from the inside out, ultimately transforming him into a mushrooman. Die! Stinkhorn roared. Interesting, Chu Xian commented nonchalantly as he enveloped himself in a blood shield. This was a qi refining stage spell, seldom used by him now, but still more than sufficient to block the yellow spores. The spores, alive with malevolent intent, continuously struck the shield, creating ripples across its surface. Yet even a qi refining stage spell was impenetrable to them. Such an attack could be considered on par with a mid-stage qi refining cultivator, Chu Xian noted with amusement. Search *the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Release me. Big brother, second brother, third brother, they will arrive soon. Stinkhorn threatened viciously. Chu Xian merely smiled and waved his hand casually, incinerating the surrounding yellow spores with corpse refining blood fire. Even the spores that tried to burrow into his pores were repelled by his spiritual qi. Don't kill me. Stinkhorn held in terror as it saw its doom approaching. Chu Xian, uninterested in further dialogue, intensified the corpse refining blood fire, completely engulfing Stinkhorn. Its screams abruptly ceased, and the scent of roasted mushrooms filled the entire rooftop. At Chu Xian's nod, Bao was the first to rush forward, grabbing the roasted mushroom and devouring it eagerly, savoring every bite. Hu had taken several bites and then, from the remains of Stinkhorn's head, he unearthed an irregular yellow crystal, presenting it to Chu Xian as if offering a treasure. What's this? Chu Xian examined the yellow crystal, deep in thought. It appeared to be Stinkhorn's psionic core. He could feel the strong psionic energy pulsating within, far surpassing any supernatural creature's psionic core he had encountered before. Could this possibly serve as a wood attribute spiritual item? Chu Xian mused, his interest piqued. If he wanted to cultivate the evil wood spiritual body, he would need to refine a wood attribute spiritual item every 3 days, a total of 33 times to achieve a minor completion. The story has been taken without consent. If you see it on Amazon, report the incident. Its energy might not reach the level of a wood attribute spiritual item, but I can give it a boost. Chu Xian recalled another method from the blood evil demon refining scripture. For righteous cultivators, spiritual items were rare treasures, obtained either by spending a fortune in markets or by searching through mountains and rivers over long periods. But for demonic cultivators, spiritual items could be created, provided one had a suitable seed. For wood attribute spiritual items, a wood attribute seed was needed. To Chu Xian, Stinkhorn's psionic core seemed an ideal candidate. To create a wood attribute spiritual item, a significant amount of wood attribute beings is needed. Fortunately, there is plenty of mushrooman here. Chu Xian smiled. He instructed, all of you, go out and capture as many mushrooman as you can. The more, the better. Roar, roar, roar. The 3 corpse puppets roared and streaked out like 3 flashes of black light. Chu Xian then selected a flat piece of land and began to set up an array. The array for creating a wood attribute spiritual item was called the 100 Woods Nurturing Spirit Array. It sounded like a righteous cultivator's array, but it was, in fact, an unequivocal demonic array. This was because cultivators possessing a wood attribute spiritual root could also be thrown into this array as nourishment to foster the wood attribute spiritual item. In the sprawling expanse of the Great Dream Marsh, located at the tri-province junction of Hanhai, Linjiang, and Jingshan, a vast and vibrant ecosystem thrived. Before the zombie outbreak, it was the largest ecological preserve in the Han country, attracting numerous tourists daily to explore its native flora and fauna. Known for its diverse fungi, over half of the country's mushroom species were discovered here. No one had anticipated that after psionic energy enveloped the globe, these fungi would develop sentience and form a massive collective. At this moment, thousands of mushroomen lay in wait within the marsh, ready for orders. High above, two distinct mushroom figures stood. On the left was a small, dark figure almost entirely obscured by a black cap. On the right stood a robust, emerald figure with a green cap. Big brother, I was about to fully assimilate the human forces in Jingshan province. Why call me back suddenly? Green Cap asked in a low voice. Ink Cap responded gravely, the fourth brother was captured by the Immortal. Green Cap was taken aback, captured by the Immortal? We must rescue him quickly. Ink Cap shook his head, his face expressionless. No, abandon him immediately. The Immortal's terror, I have long witnessed. I estimate he's already dead. Green Cap dared not argue. Among the four brothers, Ink Cap was the strongest and wisest. Without him, they would never have ventured beyond the Great Dream Marsh, as the supernatural creatures here alone were a formidable threat. So, you called me back for this? Where's the second brother? Green Cap asked again. Ink Cap nodded, the second should be on his way back now. The Immortal has made moves, we don't know if he's targeting us. Let's lay low for a while and watch his actions. Green Cap suddenly asked, what if the Immortal comes for us? Ink Cap shook his head, it will take the Immortal some time to locate our stronghold. Even if he finds it, reaching here will take him time. I've hidden many mushrooms around the Great Dream Marsh, they will detect any approach by the Immortal immediately. Don't worry. Green Cap nodded, alright then, I'll follow your lead and remain hidden for now. Just then, a sword hum pierced the sky. A figure in black, standing on a flying sword, appeared abruptly before them. It's too late to think of hiding now, Chu Xian said with a smile, looking at the two mushroomen. Ink Cap and Green Cap were both startled. They had just been discussing the Immortal a moment ago, and now he was already there in front of them.